guilty of crime.
Oh, I'm here, guys. I don't know what happened, but I'm going to refresh it. Right. I'm here. You guys can see me, right? It froze up right in the very beginning, but don't worry. I'm back. Here you guys go. All right. Let's get into it. So listen, guys, I'm your host, Jay, with Guilty of Crime, and a happy Members Only Monday chat. Now, y'all can decide if you want to let your friends in, join the chat. I just wanted to do a members only chat initially. That way, everybody that's paying for a membership could come on in and say hello and do your thing. And then if you want me to open it up to your friends, we certainly can. Let me show you something before we get started and open this bad boy up. I gotta show you this because I'm excited by the new merch. All right, so come on in. I'll say hello, and then we'll get started. I don't know what happened, but I do see Cooling Chris gifted a $5. She gave us $5 here, and it didn't come up in chat. So hold on one second. Let me thank you, Cooling Chris. I love being here. I get to be in members only chat because I'm sick, so I'll be watching from the bed bushes. But I gotta show love. Thank you for showing love and supporting the channel. Y'all say a prayer for Cool and Chris that she feels better soon. And please welcome Synth. Please welcome Synth. Say happy birthday to Synth. It's her birthday. Happy birthday, Synth. Woo! That's what we're going to get into before we start anything. Happy birthday, showing some love. I'm going to show you some new merch we have, and then we're going to get to it. Guys, if we do make the goal today, I will absolutely give away one of the J Addict new shirts, which is my personal favorite. All right, I have my Ink Addict stuff, and we modeled it after that, and y'all are going to just see me wearing it and wearing it and wearing it. So come on in. Happy birthday. Members Only Monday could mean that members only means that we know there's exactly. Members only means you win stuff. It means some people can't come in ever. It means others can if we want them to. But guys, today there's a huge trigger warning because today we're talking about what led investigators to indict the parents on CSAM felonies. If you don't know what CSAM is, it's child sexual adult material, right? It's not PORN, it's CSAM. So we're going to get into that today. It's a little bit twisted. It is, well, a little lot twisted. Hello, everybody. I almost lost my temper, and thank you for not, Gianna. You cannot give them the satisfaction of being upset, but I hear you. Oh my God, girl. I was watching some of the stuff today that they were talking shit on me, and I typed, and then I deleted it. I said, I'm not going to do that. You know why? Because I'm not going to give them content or the satisfaction. All right. So check this out, though. Screw the haters, guys. You guys posted some amazing things on our community post. I love you for that. Thank you so much. That's why members only are here first, and then I can open it up if you all want me to. If you want your friends in. Otherwise, we won't. Okay, look. Check this out. Let me make it bigger so you can see it. Happy birthday, Synth. She's here somewhere. She'll be back. Don't worry. All right. So that's the new merch, guys. New merch. We got the J Addict, which is my personal favorite. All right. This is my jam. This is it right here. This is the one you're going to see a hat, a shirt, a tank top, all of that. All right. And then we got the J Addicted, which I already ordered 2 of those for me and Mama Pearl. So I've already got those coming. But, I'm always feeling good, and I love giving members stuff away. All right. I love it, love it, love it. So, you guys know how we do around here. Members only Monday will mean many things. All right. It'll mean many things. And the longer you come, the more you'll know. So there it is. You get a tank top. You can get a plus size shirt. You can get a 4X if you need to. Get whatever you need to. We got it for you, and it's all stocked up. All right. So let's get back to this. I just wanted to show the merch. Let me add this back up, and then we will get started. Guys, we're still counting the people in chat. There's 76 members rolling in. Y'all are the ones that help support the channel, along with Cool and Chris and everybody that helps get to our goal. All right. So yeah, Gianna, listen, Gianna, I just turned 47 in July. I'm not going to be a 47, 48, or 50-year-old that's fighting with these old biddies. These old biddies that don't even have hair, and they look like some monstrosity just pulled out of the gutter, and that's why they don't show their faces. All right, so that's what I'm going to say about them. I don't know how old they are or not, but the people that are bad mouthing, yep, we're just going to keep it moving and not give them attention. All right, they can clip it. It got stuck for a second, but refresh it, my friend. Refresh it. This is first members only chat. That way you'll want to get one. All right. So today, Siders family, and guys, it's twisted AF. I told you at the very first episode. And if y'all want to go back and watch my playlist, please do. Because in episode 1, and then 2, and then 3, and then 4, I said law enforcement called this case evil. And I told y'all, there's no way they were talking about the dirt and the filth that was evil. Guys, I knew that this was going to be a sexual assault case. I knew that these people were probably having sex with each other, with the kids, bringing outside cousins and nephews. And indeed, that's what happened. All right. Indeed, there was a lot of sexual abuse going on, and I'm going to try to explain it. So trigger warning, okay? Because this is pretty bad. All right, let's go. Check this out. And you guys let me know in chat. Hey, Beverly, let me say hi to you guys real quick. Kristen, Sadie's mom, I love you. Gianna, you know the deal. Happy birthday, Synth, Betty Spaghetti, Bella, Nikki, the OG. Christina, I'm glad you're here. Leslie, keeping it real. And Jody. God, love you guys. Thank you for supporting the channel. Cheeky's in the house. Midnight Lace. I said Lady for Justice, I think. Past Pam Perfect. Y'all have the floor, so get to it. All right, you guys have the floor. Y'all can type what you want while I get going. And if someone else is there, there's no can of worms open. Don't worry about it. My only message to you guys is to stay in the positive. All right, keep yourself in the light. Kill them with kindness. Do not stoop to anybody's level by insulting them back, okay? Just say, okay, that sounds great. Love you. Bye. Hey, I'm Clark. Big hug. I'm wearing the shirt. You got me today, my friend. So thank you. Yeah, kill those mother truckers with kindness, all right? You didn't miss anything. Don't worry about it. If you missed it, then you don't need to know about it. But stay jaded, Lady for Justice. All right, listen, guys. Listen. Synth is into this now, and Synth has been right there with me from the beginning of this channel for the most part. All right. There's a lot of people, Midnight Lace, but I'm not gonna go there because it's just content. All right. It's just content. And instead of 200 views, guys, instead of 239 views, they're getting 2,000 views when they go hashtag GOC. So you gotta know that there's a method. You got to know that when their videos are getting 239 views and then they come and they put GOC, guilty of crime, all of a sudden they're getting 2,000 views. That's why. So don't feed into it. Don't give them any more airtime, and they can go right off. Okay. All right. That being said, yeah, please do. It's all fair in love and war. tonight, baby, on Turtle Island. All fair. All right, just not here. Okay, now listen. Yeah, they pay for the numbers too. They do, Gianna. I'm telling you. Okay, so listen, guys. Let me just start real quick with, you guys should know about this case. This is my, I don't know how many umpteenth episode. This case began on June 30th when investigators executed a search warrant at the Siders residence in Hamden, discovered 16 children. Now, guys, ultimately, we talked about what led law enforcement here, but they didn't tell us the whole truth. What led enforcement here, what they originally told us, was that Gary Siders was pulling out his on the porch and it was indecent exposure. So they gave him sex crimes. But guys, they didn't tell us the whole truth. Now, you remember last week we covered this and someone said, do you think he was just peeing off the porch or was he exposing himself? Well, now we know he was exposing himself. Now, authorities allege that the children were living in extremely unsanitary conditions, including a room that was contaminated with human feces. So Gary Siders Jr. and Elizabeth Siders, the two parents, ultimately are at the top of this food chain getting the sexual assault charge. Now, Gary Siders Sr. and Christina were still arrested along with them, and they're still going to continue with the charges, just not the actual assault. Now, look, we're going to get into it, but those charges that were listed that have just came from January of 2022, January to September. All right. They were going to the house for DNA regarding a child. So we now know that they weren't going there for Gary peeing off the porch. There were two children, but at least one still needs DNA from Gary because, listen, him and his nephew are the father of the children that were raped. Do you hear me? Elizabeth was 9 months pregnant. She had the first set of Irish twins in February. All right. And then we don't know which charges against her are for the two specific twins that were being, and I'm going to use the word trigger warning, children being molested by one or both of the cousins and with Elizabeth's consent. She was pregnant all throughout this. Right, she was pregnant and she lost the conjoined twins during this whole shenanigans. She was pregnant again, roughly 4 months along, when the conjoined twins, and then she stopped, and then she was pregnant again, just again and again. Now, Tiff, I can't use that graphic because it's WEPB. So if you want to send me another one, it needs to be like a JPEG. Now, listen, the first house that they had in Hamden, they lived directly across the street from that Dollar General store. And many people said, wait, what the hell? What's going on? Why are you guys listening to this dollar store general lady? Well, guess what? She was the one that called law enforcement about the sex crimes, and we didn't even know that until now. All right? So it just got worse. Now, I've told you from the beginning, law enforcement wouldn't call dirty evil, but that's not what they called evil. They called the sexual assault evil. All right. It's not their kids. It's someone else's. We got it. We're doing it, Cint. Don't worry. I'm going to tell the whole story today. All right. I got you. Rose, thank you for being a member for 9 months. All right. So this is just a little bit of event one. Dollar store general reported concerns. They opened an investigation. They issued the DNA warrant. Children were removed. They all got the same 17 child endangerment counts. Now we see 2 related sex abuse indictments. I'm going to show you those guys and the ongoing court proceedings with the up charges for the CSAM. All right. These people are horrible, and thank goodness for that employee, but also thank goodness for that employee. All right. We got 111, which is an angel number. Say a prayer that those children never go back to those monsters, and we can stop this head on by locking these monsters up for a long time. All right, Lil Red, good to see you, my friend. Guys, I got my phone back. I didn't have a phone for like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I just got it back today, like a little while ago. So that's why I was a bit late. But hello, Indy, Deb, Cats Meow. Y'all are enjoying this. You're all in the green. All right, let me do this first. Let me just right out the gate, pop out and do the video. Show you a quick video, all right? We've got this all in the timeline, perfectly timed up. So let's start with, this is not the one. We are going to do this one, but that's not the one I wanted to see. Hold on. we are going to, where'd it go? You know what? I'm going to do this first, and then I'll share the 2 men that were charged with CSAM as well. There's more people involved in this, guys. And you remember they started telling us there was no trafficking going on? Well, I'm not believing that now. All right, let's check this out real quick. This was 2 days ago. Separate CSAM abuse involving the Siders led investigators to the discovery of 16 children. Guys, we now know that they went there for different reasons than we thought. Let's get into it.
4 members of the Siders family in the Vinton County child endangerment case, nearly 2 months now after authorities say they found 16 children living in what they called deplorable conditions inside a Hamden home. 2 family members, Gary Siders Jr. and Elizabeth Siders, were also indicted on charges of sexual battery and unlawful sexual conduct with a minor. We have been following this case since June 30th, when law enforcement removed those 16 children from that home on Omer Street.
But tonight we learn that child endangerment investigation is actually the 3rd of 3 separate investigations. 10 TV's Libby Cathy is joining us in studio tonight to walk us through the new details. Libby?
That's right, Yolanda. Jeff, we learned today what initially led authorities to the Siders' home where they discovered those 16 children. It was a separate child sexual abuse investigation, one initially involving 2 children and 2 South Bloomingville men.
So look, guys, first we have 16 children. We have the 4 arrests, and now we've got 2 more men coming in that we had no idea about. And we're hearing that these monsters were having actual relationships with other children. Is this a rink? Is this a pedo rink? I don't know. Yeah, and Tiff, I'll get back to you when we're done here. I'll send you whatever. All right, let's continue.
Men, according to authorities. That's 23-year-old Josh Saunders, you see him on your screen, charged with rape and gross sexual imposition, and 40-year-old Brandon Henderson Sr., indicted on 21 charges, including endangering children and sexual battery. These men were arrested today, and that investigation led authorities to
Now, mind you, this was 2 days ago, okay? So I'm trying to tie this in the best that I could, and the way that we tie this in is by updating it and getting you the story. Now, this was a bit of a blur with what was happening, because trying to document all the people, all the children, new people, it's got a little bit bigger. But those 2 right there, those are the 2. Gary Siders Jr., 36, the father, and Elizabeth Siders, 33, the mother. Guys, they now have 19 child endangerment charges, 2 counts of 2nd-degree felony endangering children, 10 counts of 3rd-degree felony endangering children, 7 misdemeanor counts of endangering children, and 2 counts of sexual battery, and 2 more of unlawful sexual conduct with a minor. Now, Elizabeth Siders has the exact same charges, my friends. She was also doing things to the children in a sexual manner while she was pregnant. Maybe that turned her on. I don't know. But the allegations, likewise, the concern to the non-media family minor, the alleged conduct was in 2022, and we're just hearing about it now. All right, this was a big revelation, and this is what caused them to go to that house. All right, so let's continue. I got so much more.
Elizabeth and Gary Siders Jr., and separate allegations that the couple sexually abused a minor in 2022. We're told that minor was not a member of their immediate family. Authorities were acting on that sexual abuse investigation on June 30th, there to collect Gary Siders Jr.'s DNA when they discovered the 16 children, sparking the child endangering investigation.
These cases began as an investigation into family child sex abuse. Law enforcement sought the DNA of Gary Siders Jr. related to the child sex abuse case. Once Siders Jr. was located, search warrants were executed to secure his DNA for genetic testing. Upon serving the search warrants for the child sex abuse case, the existence and condition of the 16 children at the Omer Street house became known.
So now all 4 Siders adults have been indicted on child endangering charges, and Gary Siders Jr. and Elizabeth Siders are also facing those additional sex crime charges for abuse of a minor that, again, was not one of their children. So we reached out to the Siders defense attorney.
Okay, so do you guys see how this case is shaping up and what's been happening? Lady for Justice just gifted a Guilty of Crime membership. Guys, I'm going to open up chat. When we hit to like 30-minute mark, I'll open up the chat so everybody's friends can come in. And those that got gifted, y'all can come in. All right? So this goes beyond those 16 children in the house. Thank you, Gianna. And thank you, Lady for Justice, my girl. Joanne, how you doing? All right, look, we're just at the beginning stage of this. Discovery has not yet been received by the defense counsel, and we continue to be primarily working with rumor and innuendo as opposed to facts and evidence. Defendants are presumed innocent unless proved guilty in the court of law. Now, that's an attorney for Gary Siders Sr. They're obviously going to paint the narrative that they didn't do anything wrong and they just love children. But we know how they love children. We see that. All right? I don't think that defense attorney is going to go too far with this. All right? This innocent until proven guilty crap, I think they're going to get proven guilty real fast.
Day, no one I spoke to recognized Saunders or Henderson, but we are keeping in touch with residents there and staying on this story. Jeff, Yolanda?
Libby, thanks for that update. Certainly a lot more to talk about in this case. You can.
And guys, if this came from particularly that house, then in 2022, it may have been the other house. They just last week, I showed you they had a second home. Now, let me go back to this real quick. Siders family, Gary and Elizabeth, indicted separately. All right, let's take a look.
In the case against two Vinton County couples from the Siders family accused of endangering 16 children. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Marilyn McAuliffe. 13 News reporter Delaney Wells breaks down the new charges handed down today. Delaney?
A Vinton County grand jury handed down indictments today in 3 criminal cases involving sexual abuse and child endangerment. The first investigation.
So now, guys, we know what law enforcement is calling evil. Okay. And I told you that would probably be the case. I don't think that you would ever get that law enforcement making those bold ass statements about something that they didn't think was going to be to this magnitude, right? And you got to remember the lady that was at the dollar store that did an interview. She didn't even talk about that in the interview. We knew nothing other than those kids were dirty, they smelled, and they bought a bunch of oil. That's all we knew. That's it. That's all. Hey, Heather, good to see you, my friend. Happy Monday. We got Turtle Island after this, don't we?
In December of 2025, opened an investigation into allegations of sexual abuse involving 2 children. Information obtained in that investigation prompted officials in March of 2026 to open a second investigation, turning towards Gary Siders Jr. and his wife Elizabeth, which involves allegations of unlawful sexual conduct with a minor. Siders Jr. and his wife Elizabeth were indicted today on 4 new charges each, 2 counts of sexual battery and 2 counts of unlawful sexual conduct with a minor. The indictments allege that between January and September of 2022, the defendants engaged in sexual conduct with a minor.
So tell me, I don't know if Tiff or Synth was all over this today. Tell me, was that at the other house? Because the time frames start to blur from when they moved and when they didn't. So I'm not sure if 2022 was at the beginning of this with the assault or was at the end of the other place. We'll keep going to it. This is going to unfold, guys. This is unfolding as we speak. Literally a new message just came out about the 2 men that were charged in this linked to the Siders 51 minutes ago. So we got a lot to go over today, guys.
Minor more than 10 years younger than their own age. The victim is not a member of their immediate family. Vinton County Prosecutor William Archer says a search warrant was issued for Siders Jr.'s DNA for the child sex case. That search warrant is what led law enforcement to find those 16 children. This is the first time we're hearing why law enforcement was at the house on June 30th.
We ask the public to be mindful of the circumstances around them, especially involving children. We continue to ask for the public's respect for the rights and privacy of the child victims in this case. I'd like to add a thank you to the Vinton County Sheriff's Office and BCI for their investigative efforts, which have been amazing.
Vinton County Sheriff Ryan Kane clarified that the warrant they were serving were related to these new charges.
There have been a lot of speculation and questions regarding the June 30th presence on Omer Street in Hamden. These indictments provide some insight into the ongoing investigation. However, to preserve the integrity of the ongoing investigation and to protect the victims, I conclude my statement here. I am thankful for the work of my deputies and our fellow partners at BCI. We will continue to pursue justice in these cases.
Gary Siders Jr., Christina, and Elizabeth Siders are also now indicted on 19 charges in the child endangerment case instead of the initial 16 counts. While
Yes, so they got more charges. The older people, the mom and the dad that should have been watching the grandkids, they've got more charges too. See something, say something, and do something. Guys, this case is much bigger than we thought. Now, 2022 is when they moved from Gallia to Vinton, so we don't know what house, but I'm sure things are going to start to unfold a lot more quickly. Now, listen, Newfie, those poor children aren't even the ones that they're charging for CSAM charges. So that being said, I believe that they also did CSAM stuff with the 16 children that they were hiding. These are more additional kids, not theirs. Okay. And Elizabeth Siders right along with it. Elizabeth Siders, a mom, gave birth to 18 children, was also included in the CSAM charges. Okay. So that means they're saying, hey, she did that stuff to them too.
Gary Siders Sr. is still indicted on the original 16 charges. Prosecutors say this allows for more complete presentation of evidence. In studio, Delaney Wells, 13 News.
So let me do this real quick. My phone doesn't have all my stuff on it, Tiff, so I'm not sure what you're saying. Hold on, let's do this because this just came out and I wanted to. So today's August 24th, my friends, and this is August 24th, 2026. All right. Ohio House of Horrors, parents Elizabeth and Gary Siders charged with child sexual abuse material. All right, we'll call it that for now. We don't know if there's material, but we know it's this, all right? But we call it CSAM. Now, there are these two horrible people that luckily can't get bonded out. They won't lower the bond. They won't reduce it. They won't get rid of it. These people are stuck, and now we know why. Now, listen, after Elizabeth and Gary Siders' children, 16 children were rescued from the Ohio House of Horrors, a state official revealed that they're facing additional charges in a separate case after they allegedly engaged in the CSAM conduct with a minor. All right. Ohio Attorney General Andy Wilson announced in the news release that Elizabeth 33 and Gary 36 have been indicted on multiple charges after an investigation determined that they allegedly engaged in sexual contact with a minor more than 10 years younger than their own age. So that means 33 and 36, they were sleeping with, they were abusing, okay, you can't sleep with, abusing children 10 years younger than their own age, okay? Now, we don't know what abuse, we don't really need to know. We know it's CSAM. Now, Wilson said the minor was not a member of their immediate family. So that is going to rule out incest for this moment. But it's not going to be ruled out once we cross-check the DNA. There was more than 10 years younger than the couple in 2022, and the claim occurred between January and September of 2022. While their familial connection to the victim has not been revealed, Vinton County Prosecutor William Archer said that the CSAM case involves intra-family relationships. All right? He also went on to say that deputies learned of the family's living conditions when they executed a warrant for Gary Jr.'s DNA in that CSAM case. We didn't know that. We thought he was in trouble for peeing off the porch. Now, while they're looking at Gary Jr., authorities discovered Elizabeth, Gary Jr., and the parents, as well as 16 children living inside the home in squalor. Now, a grand jury has indicted Elizabeth and Gary on the 2 additional counts of CSAM, which I talked about earlier. The initial investigation into the couple began in December of 2025. All right. They were hit with allegations of CSAM involving those 2 same children, according to Vinton County Sheriff Ryan Kane. Now, Kane said in a statement that a second investigation involving unlawful, again, CSAM with a minor was opened up in March. Now we go back to Gary, Elizabeth Jr., Christina, and Sr., and they're indicted by the same grand jury on charges related to the rescue of the 16 children. Now, after the children were taken from them on June 30th, Elizabeth, Gary Jr., Christina, and Gary Sr. were hit with 19 counts of child endangerment, while Gary Sr. was charged with 17 counts. All 4 adult family members have pled not guilty to the initial charges, and the 16 children are currently in the care of the county while the parents remain in jail. Officials say they're working on establishing treatment options and access for the children to assist them in processing these traumatic experiences. All right. And they allegedly endured at the hands of their parents and their grandparents. All right. I don't think this is a video, but I got another one for you here because I want you to see the 2 members of the family that were involved in the CSAM that didn't include the children. So we don't have a connection yet with incest to the family, but we do have these 2 men charged along with the Siders investigation.
Learning more about the 2 men facing charges in connection to the Siders family case. Investigators say 2 South Bloomingville men are facing charges surrounding sexual abuse of 2 children. This is 40-year-old Brandon Henderson and 23-year-old Josh Saunders. Today, a judge set their bond at $250,000.
10 TV News reporter Kristen McFarland is out there joining us live right now in front of the courthouse with what we know about all this tonight, Kristen.
Jeff, Yolanda, well, the complexity of this case continues to unfold with new information. Investigators linking 40-year-old Brandon Henderson and 23-year-old Josh Saunders to 2 of the Sider family members. Here's what we know tonight. The Attorney General's office says this all started back in December.
Guys, members only chat is open, y'all. If y'all are out there lurking, I see 167 people, but if you're out there lurking, come on in. Come say hello. Oh, yeah. Look at Lolo. She says, I'm free. You're here now. Guys, I'm going to gift a membership when we get into the bulk of the case, when I'm not reading to you. I just want to make sure I'm able to tell you the story properly and document what happened. All right, without any confusion, because this is quite a confusing case. All right, Joanne, thank you. Under your scars, choo choo. Challenge Red Bulls required. LOL. Thanks for your research and hard work for us, as well as working outside home and family. Thank you. I appreciate that. I literally just rolled in. I spent 3 hours at Verizon getting my phone. I went into work. I did a bunch of quotes, and then I ran home. And as you can see, I ran in here, and now we're streaming. So thank you. You're welcome. And guys, we're just getting started. All right. Good to see everyone. Thank you, Under Your Scars. If anybody wants to match or gift the membership, chat's open now. All right. Jinxie, Lolo, Clar. I just got my phone back, so I haven't been able to talk to anybody. I'm dying here. All right, let's take a look at these 2 men that are connected in the Siders investigation and what we're looking at. That's Josh Saunders and Brandon Henderson. All right.
December, when an investigation was opened into allegations of sexual abuse involving 2 children. This led to the indictments and arrests of 2 South Bloomingville men, 23-year-old Josh Saunders and 40-year-old Brandon Henderson.
One of them does look familiar, the older guy. I know I've seen him somewhere. I just can't put my finger on where.
Neighbor Michaela Hickman says this case is becoming more complex.
No, that is absolutely horrifying. These 2 people started all of this for them to look into what is actually going on in this household. And I mean, it's such a remote area. It's not shocking that horrible things are going on in homes people don't know.
Officials say this investigation led investigators to look into Elizabeth and Gary Siders Jr. and what ultimately led to the discovery of the 16 children. Both parents are facing sexual battery charges and 2 counts each of unlawful sexual conduct with a minor. Officials say the victim is not an immediate family member. Hickman says she's lived in this area for years and hasn't heard any case like this.
You don't truly know your neighbor.
And guys, who would, right? Who would know about a case like this? Thank you so much. Joanne just came in with the $4.99 super sticker. We'll say it's an avocado. All right. I mean, really, you're not going to think that you have 16 kids crammed in that house, right? Pink butterfly. What a day indeed. Hey, Allie, good to see you, my friend. I got this. I look like a rapper today. What? Sometimes I look like a rapper. Sometimes I look like a gangster. Sometimes I look like a what else? I'm about to rap, yo. I don't know how to rap, but yo, let's talk about some true crime. All right, and then I'll rhyme with the true crime. We got the avocados. And a happy birthday to Synth, guys. Shout out. Happy birthday to our girl Synth. Melissa, say a happy birthday to Synth. Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. I got the gangster rap and the true crime. Okay, that's all. And Miss Cleo. I am psychic, by the way. I can tell you what's going to happen in the future. You know why? Because I already told y'all what was going to happen in the future, and it came true. A prison guard. What else? All right, let's continue.
With being in so far apart, it's hard to know who someone really is on the inside.
And today we learned through birth certificate records that 23-year-old Josh Saunders is the child of a man who was named in an ordered paternity test with Henderson through the court. Henderson is in a relationship with a woman listed as the young Saunders mother. For now, reporting live in Vinton County, Kristen McFarland, 10 TV News.
That is wild, guys. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger, which leads me to believe that they may find trafficking in this case. There may be upgraded trafficking charges, all right, once they determine what they need to. Woohoo! Lucky. Thank you, Cool and Chris, Midnight Lace, Low Red. Thanks for the happy birthdays. Deb, a struggle I used to take for granted. I refuse to give in to the pain. It actually makes me mad. Grrr. It's your tour day. It's Tuesday the 31st. What? Hey, Sister Karen, Arizona Adventures. All right, yes. Very happy birthday to our girl Synth. All right, let's take a look at this. You know what? I want to, and I'm not going to do it right now, but I think we're going to need to go back over that interview with the dollar store lady. And guys, I'm even down to try to get an interview.
The Siders case down in.
I'm pretty skeptical nowadays of collabing and getting interviews because of all the stuff going on. But I bet you I can get an interview with that lady, with the dollar store lady. Thank you, Clark. And this is the shirt you gave me. Thank you. All right, this is my buddy, Streetside Auto. Go check out Streetside Auto, guys. Best car work in town. They got and they do the auto body work. Amazing auto body work. I don't think people really know who I talk to in real life. I think people think I just sit here and I don't know. Anyway, Team GOC, thank you. Thank you. Snippy at the dollar store. She did, though. The dollar store lady is the one that turned them in. So Snippy 273. Let's get that correct. I don't know if I said it wrong, but the Dollar Tree lady actually turned them in for the CSAM case. Oh, girl, this is my favorite. This is Blue Rancher. That is my absolute favorite. If anyone wants to give me some Blue Rancher freaking geek bars, that's my favorite. All right. Yours is Blueberry. Yes, my friend. SA in 2022. That's when they left the other house. So you know what? Let's do this real quick. I gotta see what these men, it just keeps coming out. It keeps coming that these men 6 hours ago linked to it, indicted. There's so much more that keeps coming. Let me see what they say about this. All right, let's take a look real quick before we get to this woman. She's out there, boots on the ground. I want to look at these men again. These two men are linked to the case, and it keeps coming out. It's right here. This is the one I actually wanted. The two men arraigned. All right, so we've got two additional players in this, and I'm going to play this, and then we'll go to that.
Investigation into the Siders family were in court today. Brandon Henderson, Sr., and Josh Saunders are now facing charges in a child sex abuse case. The Ohio Attorney General's office says the investigation first began in December of last year. Then TV's Kristen McFarland is live in Vinton County. Kristen, what do we know about the relationship between these men and the Siders family?
Yeah, Brandon. Well, first of all, Josh Saunders and Brandon Henderson's bond was set at $250,000 by a judge just a little while ago. Both men pled not guilty. As you mentioned, this all started in December when an investigation was open into alleged sexual abuse of 2 children. Now, this led to the indictments and arrests of both Hocking County men, Josh Saunders and Brandon Henderson. Saunders is charged with.
So, guys, Hocking County, that's what I'm trying to figure out is Hocking County, was that the other house? It sounds like it because we keep hearing Vinton County. So, guys, if we're a little bit of detectives here, and I think we are, all right, I think we're a bit of a detective here. We do a lot of detective work. Synth and Tiff and all of us, we do a lot behind the scenes. A lot of times we cover cases that you never even hear of, but we cover it because we cover it with each other, and it's got all the documentation, and it's not a hot case, and so I can't cover it anymore. But that's a different county. So, Synth, did you hear that? You guys all have some cherry Snapple banana freaking cake, wedding cake. I think that's got some THC in it, though, right? Mine doesn't. You're getting the same commercial in Spanish. I don't even speak Spanish, Allie. All right, so you heard that. That was in a different county, which leads me to believe that this was the prior house in 2022. All right, so we're just doing a little detective work here.
3 counts of rape and 1 count gross sexual imposition. Henderson is facing 21 charges, including 8 counts sexual battery, 8 counts of gross sexual imposition, and 4 counts endangering children. Investigators say the investigation into these 2 men are what led to an investigation into Elizabeth and Gary Siders Jr., and what ultimately led to discovery of the 16 children. Both parents are facing sexual battery charges and each 2 counts of unlawful sexual conduct with a minor. The Attorney General's office says the victim is not a family member of the immediate Siders family. Right now, we are working to learn the alleged connection and relationship.
And see, that's what we're doing right now. We're trying to learn the alleged connection of the 2 men and the children. There's a lot of people. Yeah, it was Vinton County, so that means that they were probably from the other house because it wasn't Vinton County that they talked about. All right, so we're piecing this together as we go. I will absolutely try to keep you up to date even when we're on the episode. All right, like if it comes out how they're connected or who a victim is or what have you, I will definitely keep you posted. And I want to talk to that Dollar Street lady, Tiff.
With those 2 men and the Siders family. We'll, of course, bring you the latest as we learn more. For now, reporting live in Vinton County, Kristen McFarland, 10 TV News.
Kristen, thank you. And like she just said, the investigation into sexual assault allegations against these 2 men led investigators to investigate Gary Siders.
Now, remember, we thought that it was because he was peeing off of his porch. Do you remember that? Let's get a hold of the dollar store lady, Tiff. How do we get a hold of the dollar store lady? All right, now this just came out minutes ago. That's why I wanted to show you. It's only got 32 views. It's talking about the 2 men arraigned, and I want to see what the connection is in this case. All right. Let's take a look, see if we can find the connection.
They combined 25 charges in a sex abuse investigation that involves 2 children. Now, authorities say that this has a direct connection to the Siders investigation.
So look, there's 2 children connected to the Siders investigation, and those 2 children are not theirs. Josh is Junior's. Okay, thank you, Rainbow Tribe. We've been piecing it together. Tiff's done amazing. Synth has been doing amazing when she has time because she's busy, right? Is there a new person in the house? Shout out to Julie. I missed her comment, but shout out to Gail and Crazy Jane and Maggie. Julie says, hello, Jay. Keep up the great work. This is the second time I got to see you. I'm shouting out from Pennsylvania. Well, Julie, thank you. Welcome to the Crime Crew family. As long as you sub up, you're part of us. All right. Thank you. And continue coming. Yeah, we're going to continue covering this. One of them is married to the Siders' sister. We're looking into that. I don't want to put the connection out just yet. All right. I wish, Dark Wizard. Are they ever going to fry that potato named Jen? I wish. Oh, God. All right, let's continue. I don't even want to get into that, but thank you for asking that. Hashtag arrest Jen Soto.
As those family members await their next court appearance. A widening investigation in Vinton County into allegations of child sexual abuse and endangerment. 23-year-old Josh Saunders is now facing 4 charges. The alleged offenses happened between January 2020 and June 2020.
So there it is right there. And guys, that's not good. This is a lot more serious. The RAPE charge is a lot more serious than what I thought. All right. And I'm so grateful that they're getting these charges. I hope that they get prosecuted to the fullest and that Elizabeth Siders never gets to have another child of her own to do what she like with. Guys, Cool and Chris is in the house. She's supposed to be sleeping because she doesn't feel good, but she's gifting a membership. Thank you, Cool and Chris. Please thank her if you receive that membership.
3. He's facing 3 counts of rape.
Yeah,
all first
they keep on. Yeah,
under
we
the
know.
age of 10 years old, according to his indictment.
Oh shit, I read that wrong. So these kids are under the age of 10. Guys, when I read it earlier, I read it as these children are of the age or underage, 10 years younger than the perpetrator. I read that wrong. We now know these victims were less than 10 years of age. All right. Yes, lay down, please. If I could give you some soup and some Gatorade, I would. All right.
Indictment and 1 count of gross sexual imposition, a 3rd-degree felony. 40-year-old Brandon Henderson Sr. is facing.
All right. So let's start with the first connection. Synth says Saunders is the son of Gary's sister. Okay. So then that's a nephew. So Gary, you got to remember all these damn people here, right? We've got Gary Jr. all the way at the bottom right. That is Gary's sister's son, which is Gary's nephew. Thank you. Thank you so much, Synth. That is, I agree. What is that? Oh, I'll get to it. Let me get back to this and I'll get to it. Oh my goodness. This is terrible. But the good news is they're being exposed. That's the good news. All right. And it goes back to 2022.
21 charges spanning from January 2020 to November 2025. He's facing 1 2nd-degree felony count of child endangerment, 2 3rd-degree felony counts of child endangerment, 8 counts of gross sexual imposition, 4 3rd-degree felonies, and 4 4th-degree felonies. Also, 8 4th-degree felony counts of sexual battery. His indictment alleges the victim was under the age of 18. And 2 1st-degree misdemeanor counts of child endangerment. Court documents list the same address for Saunders and Henderson. We went there to see whether anyone else lived at the home. Authorities say their investigation into Saunders and Henderson.
That's crazy that they rolled up and they showed that. Now, let me tell you what that means. All right. Brandon is Junior's sister Jenny's boyfriend. Well, thank you, Rainbow Tribe. Hopefully my crime crew ladies, the mods, the super mods we can start piecing that together. Now, you guys want to know what gross sexual imposition is? All right. I'm trying to cut down but this won't get monetized. There's no way this can get monetized. We're talking about graping and CSAM. So what have you? That's okay. I'm going to gift the membership in a bit. Y'all will help get to the goal. Shadow Lions here. Now we can really get started. All right. So listen, gross sexual imposition is a criminal charge for non-consensual act. All right. It involves touching intimate areas under force, threat, impairment, or when the victim is a minor. The core meaning of it is illegal sexual conduct, not intercourse. That's what that means. An offender touches someone's genitals, buttocks, thighs, breasts, anything that makes them in that positions. All right. It's less severe than RAPE, but it's still a felony sex offense. All right. So it's under a force or threat, or guys, drug and alcohol abuse is happening in this home, and we're finally seeing that. I saw a report earlier that checked it off that there was lots of DRUGs involved in this case. So that's going to start coming out as well. We thought so.
Led investigators to the home on Omer Street, where 16 children were found. The court ordered both men to have no contact with each other or the alleged victims. Now we have obtained a family obituary that names Gary Siders Jr. and Elizabeth Siders. It lists Brandon Henderson as their brother-in-law. We have asked the prosecutor's office when the Siders will return to court, including whether that could happen Tuesday. We have not received a response. On your side, Nick Veland, ABC 6 News.
All right, so let me put this up for a second. I'll report a little bit more. All right. But they did have RAPE charges as well, Mo. So that's the problem with this. Okay, so here's my thing. Here's what's the big revelation today. It's how investigators actually got to the house to get these charges and to get these children out. Okay, that's number one. So if you just rolled in and you're like, Jay, I missed the beginning. Well, guess what? It's okay. You can go back and watch, or I could just tell you. The big clear explanation is that these charges of rape and assault and CSAM came from the charges that we see given to these two men. All right. But we don't know exactly who it is or how they're tied. According to prosecutors, the investigation did not initially begin as an investigation into living conditions or 16 children that were being abused. Now, BCI had been investigating these allegations involving CSAM of other children, not theirs. Now, that investigation eventually led them to Gary Jr., Elizabeth Siders, and the whole Is family. The reason they did a June 30th search warrant and obtained DNA is because they want to find out who's doing what to who, what incest, who's related, who gave children to who impregnated who, and what the hell else is going on. Now, once officers entered the house, they discovered the 16 kids and the conditions that produced this whole child endangerment investigation. And that means essentially multiple interconnected investigations are now happening rather than one simple neglect case. All right. Also, guys, major thing today, 2 men have been additionally charged in this development. These men are from South Bloomingville and have been indicted in the broader portion of the CSAM investigation. Now, guys, Josh Sanders, 23 years old. Let me see if I can put that up for a second. Hold on. Let me put it up so you can see that. Hold up. Let's see if they got a side by side. 1 second. I don't have a picture of them because this just came out, but I want to show you. Let me put it up there while I tell you the charges, all right? Because I know it's gotten all convoluted. There's so many people in this now. All right. So that's them right there. I'll put this one up. We did not watch this at all. I'm going to just put it up and pause it. All right. Did it go up? 1 second, guys. I'm working on it. This internet is, maybe it's like that because of there it is. Okay, perfect. It's probably because of the heat today. But listen, guys, here we are. I'm going to live this up. These are the 2 additional people, Josh Saunders, which we now know is the nephew of Gary, and Brandon Henderson Sr. Okay, so number 1, we know how the law enforcement got there now, and that was due to the call about CSAM. Okay, the dollar store clerk led them there. Now, 2 additional men have been charged, both from South Bloomingville from 2022. Josh on the left has 3 counts of RAPE and 1 count of gross sexual imposition. He's 23 years old, the guy on the left. Now, the guy on the right is Brandon Henderson Sr. He's 40 years old, and he's indicted on 21 charges, including allegations of child endangerment, gross sexual imposition, and sexual battery, along with RAPE. Now, authorities say the investigation involving both of these men go back to December 2025 and involved investigations concerning 2 children. Now, both men were arrested August 21st, right? That was just days ago. More importantly, these allegations should not be conflated with allegations concerning the 16 Sider children. That's a separate case and separate abuse. All right. So listen, here's what's happening. There's a competency evaluation right now, and that's for the Siders family. All right. That's where the case stands. Today is August 24th, 2026. And I'll continue updating you. Let's see what they say here.
Sex abuse case. The Ohio Attorney General's office says the investigation first began in December of last year. 10 TV's Kristen McFarland is live in Vinton County. Kristen, what do we know about the relationship between these men and the Siders family?
Yes, finally.
Yeah, Brandon. Well, first of all, Josh Saunders.
Okay, what is the relationship between them and the Siders family? If we hear it from them, it's true, right? Not necessarily, just kidding.
And Brandon Henderson's bond was set at $250,000 by a judge just a little while ago. Both men pled not guilty. As you mentioned, this all started in December when an investigation was open into alleged sexual abuse of 2 children. Now, this led to the indictments and arrests of both Hocking County men, Josh Saunders and Brandon Henderson. Saunders is charged with 3 counts of rape and 1 count gross sexual. 8 count sexual gross sexual. Investigators.
They just love the, it doesn't matter. We're not going to get monetized today. But now we can add 2 more people to this nasty House of Horror saga. All right. Yeah, we need that, girl. Listen, Allie, we do need a string chart. We literally have a chart. We just need to add these people. All right. Lori, welcome in. Happy Monday. I'm going to gift a membership once I can lock onto a video. All right, Mrs. Redhead, good to see you, my friend. Little Red, you got to reach out to me. We got to figure out we got to cover the Krista Pike case, and I got to do it this week. All right, so let me know. Reach out to me, my friend.
Discovery of the 16 children. Both parents are facing sexual battery charges and each 2 counts of unlawful sexual conduct with a minor. The Attorney General's office says the victim is not a family member of the immediate Siders family. Right now, we are working to learn the alleged connection and relationship with those 2 men in the Siders family. We'll, of course, bring you the latest as we learn more. For now, reporting live in Vinton County, Kristen McFarland, 10 TV News.
Kristen, thank you. And like she just said, the investigation into sexual assault allegations against these 2 men led investigators to investigate Gary Siders Jr. and Elizabeth Siders for separate allegations of sexual misconduct involving a minor. The young couple is now facing an indictment related to those allegations. That's in addition to the allegations linked to this discovery of 16 children inside a home with 4 adults in Vinton County. Each adult in the home is facing more than a dozen charges related to child endangerment. On June 30th of this year, officers went to serve a warrant for the unlawful sexual.
Now, mind you, we thought that he was just peeing off the porch. Thank you, Sadie's mama, for bringing it back to why they called this case evil. Now, we're still trying to find out about these rumors because it does say there's a pregnancy here. So, Snippy, if you hang in there for me when we're done talking about the case, I am absolutely going to go over the body cam footage, all right, with Dr. G Explains, and we're going to look to see if we think she's pregnant or not, all right? We're going to find out. We need a whiteboard. Yes, class is in check. When it's dismissed, I'll write it up there, all right? Just kidding. You only get notes if you're a mod and you're working with guilty of crime, silly. Gary's sister. See, they keep saying they're not related to the immediate family, but then I hear that one is the brother-in-law, which would be still part of the family, and a nephew, which would be part of the family. So if Josh is a nephew and Brandon is an uncle, they're still part of the family. Hey, Krista, good to see you. I need a bleeper, but I know I got this one. Maybe I can. Remember, Baby Guilty bought this for me. And remember, the sister did marry an old man at a very young age. He was 48 when he married her. And maybe Tiff can fill me in, or somebody, what age the young girl was, because I can't remember all that. I have grandchildren that are close to Elizabeth and Gary. Oh no, really? Damn. Well, say a prayer that those kids get the justice that they deserve. They haven't had justice, especially living in these conditions. And now we know there's CSAM involved.
Sexual conduct charge. And when they entered the home, investigators found 16 children they say they did not expect to be there. At the time, the Ohio Attorney General described the condition of the home the 20 peoples were living in was, quote, deplorable. There's no court date scheduled for the family right now.
But there will be, don't you worry. Now, I'm going to play this clip real quick because I like that she was boots on the ground there outside of the house. And yeah, this is basically what we're going to see. We're going to see a lot more of this, I believe, in that in this
We're in
case.
South Bloomingville, Ohio right now because of a new development with the Siders case down in Benton County. So today, 2 men were arrested. The Attorney General says they're from here. That is Brandon Henderson Sr. and Josh Saunders. These 2 men arrested on multiple charges of sexual abuse to minors, 2 minors. Well, that sexual abuse investigation led authorities to the Siders. So this opened up a separate sexual abuse investigation into Gary Siders Jr. and Elizabeth Siders. Now we know why authorities were there on June 30th serving a search warrant. It was to get Gary Siders Jr.'s DNA because of the sexual abuse investigation.
Okay, you hear this? Like, we're laying this out right now as we speak. So when you get off of this stream today and somebody asks you about the updates in the case, you're going to say all of this. All right, we're going to know why law enforcement was there, how they got called, and who these people are. Because an episode just came out 4 minutes ago regarding the connection to all of this. All right, so by the end of this episode, y'all are going to know more than you ever wanted to know about this case. All right, let's continue.
Investigation, not because of those public indecency charges. When authorities were
that's what we thought the whole time. We thought it was public indecency charges, and we were trying to make sure that if those public indecency charges were of a sexual nature, or if it was just literally him being high off of something and peeing off the porch. Well, more than likely we know. All right, no, we've not heard about a victim pregnancy. Sorry, Indy. I'm sorry. All right, I had to take the dogs outside. What did I miss? Well, you missed the connections, but don't worry. We're getting right back into that, all right? You're right, it is. I'm going to explain it to you. Don't worry. It is not any of their children thus far, all right? Thank you, Sadie's mama. Somebody posted that on my page, on my community page. They said that when they want facts in a case, they come to guilty of crime for the Madeline Soto case and any other ones, because we're going to show you and tell you. We're not just going to make stuff up. All right. Hey, Leslie. All right, let's continue. This is what we know now. It wasn't the indecency charges of him peeing off the porch, but those charges are still there.
Laboring that search warrant, that's when they uncovered the 16 children living there in conditions they call deplorable. But Elizabeth Siders and Gary Siders Jr., according to authorities, sexually abused a minor that was not a member of their immediate family between January and September of 2022. That is the allegation here. So now these indictments dropping against all 4 Siders adults today. There are additional charges against Elizabeth Siders and Gary Siders Jr. for sexual battery and unlawful sexual misconduct towards a minor. So those are the new indictments dropped today. That's why we are in South Bloomingville, because those 2 other men who were charged separately, their sexual abuse investigation led authorities to the Siders and then to the Siders children.
All right, so that was pretty clear. She definitely cleared that up real nicely. All right, I really wanted to know the connections. We're further going to probe into this and find out what's happening. We're going to cover it, of course. I do have a feeling, though, that at some point these people are going to want a plea deal. All right, so this just came out now 7 minutes ago. Ohio House of Horrors inside the child sex abuse probe. All right, so we're going to get into that, and then we're going to talk about her pregnancy and the body cam and these people. All right, so guys, do me a favor. I haven't even asked you yet. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't. Get a membership if you can. All right, I'm going to gift a membership here in a little bit, so make sure that you hit that like button and drop a comment, because that's how you win. All right, let's continue. Now, this came out 8 minutes ago. Let's go.
Jury today has issued indictments in 3 criminal cases involving sexual abuse of child endangerment.
Gary and Elizabeth Siders. So look, now we have 3 criminal cases pending. 3 of them, all right, with lots and lots of charges. Thank you, Gianna. Yes, I do my homework. I don't just talk. I have to do my homework. Thank you, Wilma. I appreciate that. When someone random just pops out of the bushes and says, good job, I'll take it. Thank you, Vivian. I appreciate that, my friend. All right, because the kids are probably thought to be the Saunders too. That's what I was thinking too, since I think the DNA was to find out who belongs to who, because law enforcement doesn't think that Elizabeth just gave birth back to back without other engagements, especially now that we know that they were CSAMing these children. And Elizabeth was involved. That's the evil. That's where the evil comes from. Andy, what's up? Clark, Cheeky. I'm rapping today. I'm rapping about true crime. All right, let's continue. This is brand new, so I'm here for it.
Accused of sexually abusing a child together, as two of their family members also face charges related to sexually abusing children. I'll take you inside the investigation, how these people are related, where the children are now, and what Siders family members are saying. I'm Anjanette Levy, and
Thank you, Anjanette Levy. I was waiting for that. I wanted to hear that and hoping it would come out on this episode. All right, we're gonna do that, and then I'm gonna gift a membership. Thank you, Wilma. Hello to you. Welcome to the crime crew. Andy, thank you. You guys are so adorable with your jewels. Happy Monday. It's been a crazy Monday, guys.
and the investigation that started it all. Gary Jr. and Elizabeth have been in jail since June 30th, and they're not going anywhere anytime soon. I can tell you that. Both are now charged with sex crimes against a minor who was more than 10 years younger than they were.
Now, listen, who knew that was coming? Just throw a 1 in chat if you knew this was coming. Just by the pure craziness of the case and how many children and how many acts were going on in that house. Where are all the people on Elizabeth as a victim too now? Right, Matt? Right? Is anyone going to say Elizabeth is a victim anymore? I hope not. Okay. All right. You guys know what's up. Yep. You knew it. We all knew it. I'm like, there's no way that law enforcement was calling this evil and deplorable and all this stuff for just dirty people. Yep. I knew it. I knew immediately when they asked for DNA that they were going to sort out who was graping who and who had, what children. You tried to gift a membership in your YouTube. Mine crashed at the very beginning, Foxy. Yes, I am. It's showtime, baby. Thank you, Clark. Clark always sends me the awesomest freaking presents, myself and baby Guilty. We appreciate it, Synth. I mean, not Synth. Clark.
From January to September 2022, that's when the alleged abuse took place. At that time, Elizabeth would have been 29 years old and Gary Jr. would have been 32, and Elizabeth was pregnant with twins during part of that time. Those twins died the same day they were born.
They lived for about an hour, but here's the part that just gets me is that she was pregnant all while doing this to other children under the age of 10. All right. But we haven't got to figure that out yet because we don't have DNA. So listen, Julie, those kids might not all even be from Gary or from, we got to wait. All right. And again, now that we know that Gary and Elizabeth were both doing this to these children, then we can't say that she's a victim anymore. All right. Again, innocent until proven guilty, but she sure doesn't look very innocent right there. So, we'll keep it up to date.
Gary Jr. and Elizabeth face 4 felony charges, 2 counts of sexual battery. Those are felonies in the 3rd degree, and 2 counts of unlawful sexual conduct with a minor, also 3rd degree felonies. The alleged victim in this case is not one of Gary Jr. and Elizabeth's children, but they are related to the victim. And the victim was quite young when the alleged abuse took place over 9 months in 2022. Here's the Vinton County prosecutor discussing the charges after the grand jury returned the indictment. He talks about the reason why law enforcement went to the home on Omer Street on June 30th with a search warrant.
These cases began as an investigation into family child sex abuse. Law enforcement sought the DNA of Gary Siders Jr. related to the child sex abuse case. Once Siders Jr. was located, search warrants were executed to secure his DNA for genetic testing. Upon serving the search warrants for the child sex abuse case, the existence and condition of the 16 children at the Omer Street house became known. The child sex abuse cases involve intra-family relations and do not pose a risk to the general public, and I would also add, does not involve human trafficking. This case all started with diligent Dollar General clerks calling authorities with concerns over children they observed. We asked the public to be mindful of the circumstances around them.
So guys, that dollar store general lady that did an interview about the smelly people coming in, the kids that were real quiet, they weren't sure why and how and what. that woman is a hero. All right. And I wouldn't call her anything less. If she's the one that got this case cracked open by seeing something, saying something, and doing something, then she's our hero. She's a hero, period. All right. Thankful to her. A lot of people were listening to that interview and like, why are we even listening to this lady? Well, because she has info and she's the one that knows about it. All right. It's since birthday. Happy birthday. It's already been said, but I bet the minor came pregnant in here. That's a possibility, and it hasn't been said. That's what we're trying to work through right now. All right, and I'm trying to get you guys a membership, but I just got my phone back, so I need to download my Cash App, blah, 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 all that stuff. All right, let's continue.
Especially involving children. We continue to ask for the public's respect for the rights and privacy of the child victims in this case. I'd like to add a thank you to the Vinton County Sheriff's Office and BCI for their investigative efforts, which have been amazing. This case is going to be prosecuted by myself, Kara Keating, Assistant Attorney General, and Annika Collins, Highland County Prosecuting Attorney. Thank you.
So let's break down what William Archer said. He said they went to the house on Omer Street on June 30th with a warrant for Gary Siders Jr.'s DNA. They wanted his DNA.
Thank you, Mrs. Redhead. Guys, if you receive that membership, please thank Mrs. Redhead. I thank you. Thank you. All right. YouTube's being janky. What? Do you want me to get you a membership? We'll go back and forth, Foxy. I can gift 2 memberships if you want. I've got my Cash App now. I just got to download it.
DNA so they could conduct genetic testing. Why conduct genetic testing? Did the alleged victim in this case possibly have DNA evidence that she shared with investigators, or was a child possibly born as a result of this abuse? The Attorney General says the investigation into Gary Jr. and Elizabeth started in March of 2026. The search warrant on Omer Street wasn't executed until June 30th, nearly 4 months later. Clearly, they had trouble tracking down Gary Jr. and Elizabeth. They were not easy to find. But when they did, they tracked them to the house on Omer Street. And that is where they found the 16 Siders children, ranging in age from 1.5 to 18.
Okay, so this was a clear indicator of abuse going on. And I'm sure law enforcement saw the same thing. They knew why they were there for the DNA, but then they looked at this and they said, how is this even possible for one woman to do this? And one woman and one man. There's got to be more going on. Hey, Mab, good to see you, buddy. All right, so look at this. Look at this, guys. She never took a break. The first child was all the way back in 2008. And then not even 2009, 8/17 in August. And then 3, this was 2 years at least. 4, not even, oh my God, like a year right there. Boom, a little over a year. Child 5, a year and 2 months. Child 6, not even 11 months, let's say. Wait, 5 to 5. Oh, we got a little more than that, 14. And then she waited 2 years here, almost 2 years. Every 2 years to 1 year. She's popping them out. There's 11 and 12, 13 and 14. And I don't know which ones are conjoined twins. Was that 11 and 12? One of the sets died only an hour after she gave birth.
In bad shape. Now, I'll get back to the child endangering investigation involving the Siders children in a bit. But first, we have to talk about how this entire thing started and the other people who are charged. Here's Vinton County Sheriff Ryan Kane.
A grand jury today has issued indictments in 3 criminal cases involving sexual abuse and child endangerment. These charges stem from criminal investigations conducted by the Vinton County Sheriff's Office and the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigations, BCI. The cases are being prosecuted by the Vinton County Prosecutor's Office with the assistance from the Highland County Prosecutor's Office and the Ohio Attorney General's Special Prosecutions Unit. In December of 2025, at the request of the Vinton County Sheriff's Office, BCI's Special Victims Unit opened an investigation into allegations of sexual abuse involving 2 children. Information obtained in this investigation prompted BCI in March of 26 to open a second investigation, this one involving allegations of unlawful sexual conduct with a minor. On June 30th, authorities executed a search warrant at a residence in Hamden, Ohio, and Vinton County on Omer Street. There have been a lot of speculation and questions regarding the June 30th presence on Omer Street in Hamden. These indictments provide some insight into the ongoing investigation. However, to preserve the integrity of the ongoing investigation and to protect the victims, I conclude my statement here. I am thankful for the work of my deputies and our fellow partners at BCI. We will continue to pursue justice in these cases.
So in December 2025, the Vinton County Sheriff and BCI started investigating allegations of sexual abuse of 2 children. And remember, The prosecutor said alert Dollar General clerks called and reported concerns they had over children that they saw. Well, that first investigation involved 2 men. Those men are 23-year-old Josh Saunders and 40-year-old Brandon Henderson. You might be wondering, who are these 2 men and how are they?
Oh yeah, I was definitely like, what is going on? Synth was all over this to this morning. She's like, Jay. All right. And I was like, Synth, good deal. I'm glad you were on the same page. Dark Wizard, you're very welcome. We like having you here. It's good to see you again. Remember, members only Monday. All right. We don't know what it's going to be, but members only Monday. We're going to do stuff for the members, like the Turpins. Yep. All right, let's continue. And happy birthday, Sid. A huge happy birthday to you. If I were closer to you, we'd go out for a drink, coffee or something. I don't think you drink alcohol either.
Connected to the Siders. Well, I'm going to tell you. Josh Saunders is Gary Jr.'s nephew. He's the oldest son of Gary Jr.'s sister, Virginia, who goes by Jenny. And Brandon Henderson is her longtime boyfriend and the father of some of her children. Brandon and Virginia have lived in Gallia County, Vinton County, and Bloomer, Wisconsin. The Vinton County prosecutor had said previously that the Siders had lived for a time in Wisconsin. This may be the reason why. While Virginia Saunders has been with Brandon Henderson for many years, she is still legally married to Josh Saunders' father. Records show that Joshua Saunders and Virginia Saunders were married in April 2003 in Gallia County.
Oh yeah, we're going to need a different flow chart, guys, because do you hear how this is going down? All right, we're getting all the connections now and the ties to these people. So since says 2022, the 2021 to 2022 year is when the school district in Gallia called Elizabeth out. Then when all this shenanigans is happening, she gets pregnant again. Let that sink in for a minute, guys. All right, let that sink in. And how often was she pregnant? All the time. So she was probably committing these awful crimes while being pregnant at that.
But Joshua Saunders Jr. is actually serving time in an Ohio prison for murder. He's been behind bars since 2009. In 2016, Virginia Saunders described Brandon Henderson on Facebook as her soulmate and her other half. At some point, they moved back to Ohio from Wisconsin. And earlier this year, Brandon Henderson and Joshua Saunders Jr. were ordered by a court in Gallia County to take part.
Hello, Jet Set. Welcome. I agree. She needs to be sterilized. A lot of times we talk about men not needing to go around and put their seeds everywhere, but this woman was letting who knows what and who put their seeds in her, and she just kept popping them out. Now, it is unbelievable because where could they even have relations like that? You guys saw the couch last time, right? I showed you the couch. That couch was disgusting. Everything about the house is disgusting. So where did they actually even make the babies? They were jelly beans? What? Oh, these people are disgusting.
In paternity testing for Virginia's children, so child support could be paid to care for some of the children. Those children are no longer in Virginia's custody. The grand jury indicted 23-year-old Josh Saunders on 4 counts, 3 counts of rape and 1 count of gross sexual imposition. The indictment claims that Josh Saunders raped a 9-year-old child between January 2020 and December 2020. There's a second rape charge that claims a child between the ages of 10 and 12 was sexually assaulted between December 2020 and December 2023, a 3-year period. And
we can't get away from covering a case like this. There's no way, guys. I'm sorry, and I know that it could be triggering, so I'm going to give you another trigger warning and say I'm doing my best here to cover this case without that language, but this is what happened. It's hard to say something that happened when you have RAPE, right? There's only so many times you can say grape, right? So I'm doing my best. Again, trigger warning. If you're triggered at all, please step out and then come back. All right. Yeah, we don't know that. And that's why they're checking, because we think, and they probably do too, that there's incest going on in that house. All right. Let me go a little bit past that. Jeez, look at this one. Is it this guy? I believe, is this the one that said he's already serving, they say life for committing the big capital M? Jeez, man. We'll look at this, but you can't get past this when you see all these charges like that. There's nothing else you could really say.
Crimes involving a child over a period of many years. If you love digging into the details of crime cases as much as I do, you must download the Law and Crime.
Law and Crime. It's a good app. I agree.
As a special prosecutor in the state of Ohio, sometimes sits as a judge as well, and has prosecuted many sex crimes cases. Mark, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, this case just gets more complicated and complex all the time.
Complicated, complex, and disturbing. More disturbing.
I agree with that, Jet Set. That's what I'm saying. And that's why I try to keep it as real as possible. Sometimes I'll say it just so I'm not saying RAPE, RAPE, RAPE. And I don't want people to get triggered. But bottom line is, if you're talking about a child's rape, then that's what you're talking about. There's no other words around that. So we try to keep it to a minimum, but it is what it is, guys. All right, Sandra, hello, welcome. All right, let's continue.
Than we originally thought. I think you and I both suspected when BCI was involved in this, there might be a sex crimes aspect to this. But now we're learning that there are extended family members to the Siders who have now been indicted on sex crimes charges. Those are Brandon Henderson and Josh Saunders. So they were like investigation number one that started this whole thing. What is your reaction to that?
It makes more sense now. There were some people thinking that a misdemeanor public indecency case was what triggered this. We know now that's not.
That's exactly what I thought. Now I know that Low Red said there's no way that would have triggered this investigation. And you're right, it didn't. We thought he just peed off the porch, but that didn't happen. I heard earlier on another channel that they have not found them any birth certificates. No, they don't have anything yet. They haven't found, they don't have DNA back, and they don't have all the birth certificates. Although I believe there are some, we just don't have that yet. And chat, if you know more, let me know. And Norberg, I agree. But you know what? I'm so glad that I'm reporting this case and all the children are still alive. All right, let's continue. Foxy, if you need me to gift a membership, let me know. I think I texted you. I don't know. Foxy, do you need a membership? Okay, there. Let's continue.
Not true. BCI wouldn't have been involved in something like that. BCI is brought in for serious felony level cases like these sex offenses. I do need an organizational chart to know how all these people are related and who's who. It's a little confusing in that respect. But any adult.
That's why Guilty of Crime is here, to give you that flow chart. All right.
Who is either a parent or guardian or someone acting as a parent or guardian does have special responsibilities and can be charged if there's any sexual activity or sexual conduct, two different things under Ohio law, with one of those children.
And it does appear now in my reading of all of the documents and all of the records and the press releases and piecing this all together that we have 3 victims here. We have 2 initial victims in investigation 1, and then 1 victim in investigation 2. And that is the victim involving Gary Siders Jr. and Elizabeth Siders. And so they went to the house looking for Gary Siders Jr.'s.
You guys rock. Thank you, Foxy Amazon, for the Guilty of Crime membership. I'm going to say that's in memory of your brother for the 420 membership. 19 years old. Gone way too soon. All right. Thank you. And please thank Foxy if you received that. Trotter Daughter, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Please thank Trotter Daughter if you received that membership. Members only Monday. That's all you got to remember. Members only Monday. Just remember this, Mom. There you go. Mom, members only Monday. We're going to be giving stuff away to the members. We're going to be gifting memberships, gifting merch. Sometimes chat will be open. Sometimes it won't. All right. But we have to cater to the members that keep us going. I know. All right. Let's continue. This just came out minutes ago, so I'm learning a lot of this as well.
DNA for genetic testing. Mark, what does that tell you? I mean, that says to me, I'm wondering if the victim in this case became pregnant.
That's possible, although that's not one of the elements of any of these crimes. As I mentioned, one of the elements, certainly for sexual battery, is whether or not you're a parent or acting in the role of a parent of somebody, and you would have sexual activity with that child. That could have been the reason. And we now know, you mentioned the 3 victims. Those are in addition to, obviously, the numerous children who were found, 16 children found, who are all their own kind of victims in the first piece of this iceberg that we looked at.
Mm-hmm. And so why else would they go for genetic testing for Gary Jr.? I mean, they went there on June 30th with a warrant for genetic DNA for genetic testing.
All right, now we're going to hear why, right? I mean, we kind of know why. We kind of understand that they did that based on the call of inappropriate sexual activity with those other two men, right? Which were arrested on the 21st. So this is all coming out. And thank you, Cheeky. Justice for the Sider children. All right. These people are dark, and it just got evil, like law enforcement had said from the get-go. Rest in peace, Christopher. All right. And support Colleen with Colleen Itchy Withers Horse Rescue. There you go. Thank you. Thank you,
Sting. Is there any other reason that they would do that for genetic testing in your mind as a prosecutor, other than if the person who was sexually abused gave birth to a child?
Well, the other angle.
Guys, that guy's a freaking disgusting pig. All right. And there was absolutely rumors. We've heard about some of the rumors. That guy must constantly just be whacking it off with somebody. That's all I got to say. And where in that house did they go to do that? Yes. Horse Rescue Group link. Please support our channel members. And there's your link for Colleen's horse rescue, right? And there's Colleen. You came out of the bushes again.
Would be if the victim came forward with some sort of DNA evidence on her clothing or some other body part, and they wanted to test that against somebody else. That's less about genetic testing and more about a DNA match. But if some article of clothing had been maintained that suggested that a male had left his DNA or bodily fluids as part of an attack, then getting that DNA to match it could be a valid use for a search warrant.
So the genetic testing could be, I have physical evidence to prove this. I have an item of clothing or a piece of bedding with, possible DNA evidence on it, or it could be a potential pregnancy.
Yeah, it's either wanting to match somebody to DNA that we already have as part of the investigation, or to find a relationship issue so that the element of being a parent could be added to a crime.
Mm-hmm. What's so disturbing about this is the fact that we have family members, and they're saying right now that the 16 Siders children, that nobody is accused of sexually abusing them. Thank goodness, if there's a silver lining in this, that has not happened.
Now, mind you guys, nobody's accused of this yet. Okay. When law enforcement comes into a place like this, where it's frankly disgusting, and they see all of what they call evil, deplorable, dirty, filthy, nasty conditions. That's why, because look at that. How can you imagine one woman and one man doing that? We're not. So we're probably going to find out more as it goes. I also want you to remember those children weren't talking at first. They wouldn't even say or write their own name. But we know that they can because they were on social media doing that on their profiles. Lori, thank you so much for the $1.99 towards our goal. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. So something else is up in there, and I think we're going to find out a lot more as we go. I still cannot imagine this Gary Siders Jr. guy just back to back to back impregnating Elizabeth. How and where did they do this?
Happened according to what we're being told right now. However, there are other children, extended family members of the Siders, who prosecutors are saying were sexually abused at the hands of Gary and Elizabeth, and what appears to be Gary's nephew, Joshua Saunders, and his brother-in-law, like the longtime boyfriend.
Well, there it is, guys. There's the add to our flow chart. We got a brother-in-law and a nephew. All right. Did you guys hear that? I'm also going to pull up, before we get to the body cam, Elizabeth Siders' pregnancy. That confirms that she is. We're going to say right now she's pregnant. Okay. But I'll do that afterwards. They do it in front of the whole family. Apparently, I bet you social media says Gary was luring other kids pretending to be his kid. There's a possibility. I have a feeling they are going to get trafficking charges at some point, guys.
His sister, Virginia. So this is very disturbing. And we had heard there was this Wisconsin connection, Bloomer, Wisconsin. When they first arrested them, they said this family had been up in Bloomer, Wisconsin, or Wisconsin at one point in time. And now we're seeing that Virginia and Brandon at one point lived in Bloomer, Wisconsin. So that's where this connection came together, it looks like.
So there you go. It was the previous house, guys. All right. Well, we all know how you did it. Unless you're me. Unless you're Jay from Guilty of Crime. I don't know how babies were made. What? I thought you pick which ones you want and then they mail it to you. That's not how you have babies, Dark Wizard? Damn it. I've been seeing this. I've been thinking that the whole time. I thought the stork brought them. Mom, why didn't you tell Mama Pearl, you forgot to tell me how babies are made. I'll have to figure it out after, right? Yes, a bunch of minors. Hey, Retha. Yeah, so Wisconsin. This was the prior house. Yeah, nobody told me how babies are made. Jay, can you get Lizzie's brother on the phone and his girl? I can try. Where are you at, my girl Tiff? I can certainly try, Deb. Absolutely. I have no problem with that. All right. Mab, you didn't tell me that the stork came. I know. 2 men also SA. I thought the stork was delivering. The stork brought baby Guilty to me. What? We have 2 children, and I thought it was from the stork the whole time.
Yeah, it's going to require a lot of investigation, a lot of explanation for these connections. You, of course, were a reporter in Wisconsin, so you're well suited to report on this case and knowing Ohio as well as you do. This is a crooked, rotten family tree, and figuring out which branch got involved with which other branch is going to be quite a difficult thing for first investigators and then prosecutors to do.
I don't want to get over my skis here, but is it surprising to you
yes
that the mother of the children is not somehow implicated? Is it possible that she was just in the dark about all of this?
Nope.
That's possible. Certainly prosecutors want to bring as many.
Hell no. There is no in the dark about this. I'm not buying that at all. And you're right. Elizabeth's brother loves to talk. And I bet you if I approach him and say, hey, those new charges on your sister, I bet that didn't happen, right? And he'll say, da-da-da-da-da. He'll let us know. I bet you. All right. Tiff does the actual merch. I just help with designs. I made 1 baby, then I learned not to do that, Mabs. Well, we had 2 babies that we made, and I thought the stork delivered them. I never had to give birth. They just arrived. We scheduled the arrival for 8:30, and she was half an hour late. By 9:02, baby Guilty was in the house. Damn it. All right.
Charges as they possibly can. Under the rules of ethics, you have to have probable cause to believe that a charge is well-founded, and so prosecutors do have that bar to clear. But typically, we want to bring every charge we can bring to use as leverage so we can flip one defendant against another. So you would think if the mother had complicity of any sort, that she would have been charged in that way.
Gary Siders Jr. and Elizabeth Siders both face sexual battery charges related to a child. They're both charged with that, along with unlawful sexual misconduct or conduct with a minor.
Now, guys, this is going to be a pretty heavy case that they're going to have some kind of evidence, DNA or otherwise. I love it. The family tree or tree rot. Agreed. Listen, I'm glad you brought up Summer Wells, Juicy Jules, because I have an update in the Summer Wells case that I'd like to bring you. All right. I just want to talk about the last interview with the dad that Brian Enton did. It's pretty powerful. Okay. And you guys know Summer Wells has never been solved. The parents are still out there and people still cover it with a little bit of context or content for it. All right. If you get the brother on, you'll be up there with Angela. Well, some people don't think that. Some people think, but it's okay. Family tree full. Hell no. Yep.
So does that, if you're a prosecutor, for Elizabeth to be charged with that, does that mean she was an active participant in this sexual misconduct, or was she simply aware of it?
You have to be more than aware to be guilty of those crimes. If they wanted to charge a complicity charge, they could do that. It's a different way of saying, well, you didn't do it, but you were involved in helping it happen. But to be guilty of the charge, you have to meet all the elements, and simply being aware of it, other than the child endangering piece, which being aware of something that's being done to a child and doing nothing about it, obviously can be child endangering. But for these sex crimes, you have to be guilty of each of the elements of the sex crime, and being aware of it is not one of those elements.
Let's move on now to the child endangering charges involving the...
Listen, Dark Wizard, I'm so glad you're here. But the Sebastian Rogers case craziness, I'm going to have to stay away from that, my friend. You're going to have to cover that. You're going to have to go watch that craziness somewhere else, because I've been in the mix. I always get in the mix, and I didn't do shit, right? And I don't want to be in that crazy mix. Y'all remember when, what was the thing I got? Grish. Remember when Grish came out and was roasting people? just because I'm guilty by association. Y'all remember when Grish was out here roasting people in the Madeline Soto case? I got blamed for that. Like I was conspiring with Grish. Like I'm conspiring with these YouTubers behind the scenes. It's the most wild thing ever. So I will cover Summer Wells, but I'm going to probably have to stay out of that Sebastian case because, you feel me, Low Red.
16 Siders children who are now in therapeutic foster care. Those were all second-degree felonies when they were first charged. Now some of those are second-degree felonies, some are third, some are misdemeanor counts, both for Gary and Elizabeth, and then Grandma and Grandpa. What do you make of those charges being reduced in some respects? I mean, they're still charged with it, and they're innocent until proven guilty, but they're not all F2s anymore.
Yeah, the difference in these charges is the damage done to the victim. And so the more damage, the higher potential to get up to the F2, which is up to 8 years in prison. There's also a misdemeanor level child endangerment. I've seen those cases. I've worked on those cases. Careless parent allows a child to sort of run outside into the street, 3-year-old or something. That's typically a misdemeanor child endangerment. Nothing bad happened, but the parent was being careless. So remember, prosecutors have to prove the level of injury, either psychological or physical, to the victim in order to match that level of crime.
The Attorney General has said, we're not done yet. You know, this investigation is still underway. So do you see more charges coming, or do you think this is it and they're just still kind of dotting their I's and crossing their T's?
I know Attorney General Wilson, he's a career prosecutor. I don't think he would have said that if it were true. This does bring to mind another case that you covered and that many of your viewers have watched out of Ohio, out of Southern Ohio, which was the Pike County murder case, which continues to go on. And that was not immediately apparent as to who was who and who was responsible for several weeks to know all the different implications. And that once again was a large family who were doing horrible things to each other and to children. And so in that case, it took then Attorney General Mike DeWine, who's now the Ohio governor, a long time to help sort through exactly all the possible charges. We could be seeing that happen in this case as well.
Well, we will certainly wait and see what comes of it. Mark Weaver, thank you so much as always for your time and your expertise. I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
The wife for Joey Russell, the brother of Elizabeth Siders, posted on Facebook.
Okay, this is who we want. Joey Russell. All right. Bye, Retha. I heard that, Jay. Run! All right. Joey Russell. Tiff, that's what we're talking about. We want to get an interview with her brother or the dollar store lady. All right. I want to get into this. So we're going to try to do that. I've been hesitant about collabing with people or bringing people on my channel just because of all the BS. But y'all showed me some love on my community page, and I appreciate that. And I think you guys appreciate me having people on and doing what I do. So if that's the case, go over after this and show me some love on my community page so we can continue doing all the things that you like to do. All right, he's in jail right now, this very moment. Well, we'll dig into these people. And you got gifted a membership. Awesome. All right, Joey Russell. This guy will talk and talk and talk. He says, both myself and Joey are absolutely disgusted with the new charges. As we have stated since the beginning, if it came out that she hurt children, we were done. Ooh, CSAM of any kind is where the line is drawn. Unless it comes out that she was wrongfully accused and all of the charges are dropped, we will both be washing our hands. Our hearts are completely broken for all of the children. And amen to that, guys. You got to draw a line somewhere, and he's not going to support his sister. So we're going to listen. I'm going to show you something. I don't know how you could possibly do that, but before we continue, I want to pull this up real quick for you. Take a look at this, Donna. Look at this documentation here. Look at this. This is from the Gallia County Juvenile Court records from an older FOIA of the Siders family. Look at this affidavit and the date of birth and the children. Look at Aaron Cantor of Gallia County Job and Family Service, sworn hereby alleges and attests to the children in the above care and custody of Elizabeth and Gary Siders at, now this was their other house, 22 Honeysuckle Drive, Cheshire, Ohio. All right. The agency initiated an investigation back in 2020 of December. All right. And they've got their names in here blocked out, whatever you call that right now. I can't think. So it goes on to talk about why they initiated. They weren't doing their medical follow-ups, guys. So it was school at one point. This one was medical follow-ups. They were concerned that the parents weren't completing the follow-ups. The medical staff had reported high levels of lead. Lead can cause developmental delays. So Gary and Elizabeth also had heavy lead in that. What was that? Now, at the beginning, the investigation was allowed to access the home December 9th, 2020, but access to the children was denied. While in the home, concerns were raised due to a high population of roaches, flies, and gnats. Now, guys, this was in 2020. This was before all of that happened. After further investigation, the family has now become compliant with medical appointments, but medical staff are concerned that the family will stop coming to the appointments once the case is closed. Now, remember, they moved. They moved every time that school caught on, or possibly this. It happened last time the family had an open case. The children's medical provider and the CW center are in contact often regarding the well-being of those children. The physician has stated that the children have an odor, but seem to be in good health. The physician is also concerned about somebody's teeth, as they are not in good condition. This is a child. CW Cantor is also worried that somebody's speech, as she's almost 5 years old and cannot speak any clear language. All right. They also said they'd like this person to have a speech evaluation to address this concern. Now, throughout, the concerns of medical neglect have been addressed and resolved. The refusal to access of the upstairs of that place, and then they put a name, child, thigh, and lack of being able to see the children. CW Cantor has concerns of possible abuse and severe neglect. All right, this is 6 years ago. All right, the kid had insect bites on the arms along with scratches. And then it says Lily also was tugging her ear and scratching her head profusely. The parents were questioned regarding the bruising. They became agitated and stated that they were unaware of any bruising. The parents also stated that one of the kids has a cavity on her baby tooth, and they're not concerned about it because obviously it's a baby tooth, it's going to fall out. But they noticed the parent, but that doesn't make sense. That doesn't matter. I went to the dentist. You have to get your baby's cavities, whether it's going to fall out or not. That's ridiculous. The parents were questioned about it. Then they noticed the parents always in the same clothing and never have consistent hygiene, nor do the children. So they reported a smell, bruises, some stank coming from them. All right. And then they disappeared. Therefore, due to the concerns in Gallia County, remember, they're now in Vinton County. They dipped. They got this report, all the kids on there, and they said, I'm out of here. I'm not going to face these charges. We're going to continue to do whatever we'd like. Damn, I didn't even know that. I did not even know that, guys. There's so much in this case that I never had seen that. All right, so let's take a look. Elizabeth Siders, it says she's pregnant right now. Let's look.
Elizabeth Siders is pregnant again while incarcerated. It has been recently confirmed, and this
Elizabeth Siders.
Elizabeth Siders is pregnant again while incarcerated. It has been recently confirmed, and this is the Ohio case where 16 children were found in deplorable conditions on June 30th. By all reports so far, all 16 of those children are hers, and this is at least her 15th pregnancy. This is a list of the children, the 16 children involved in this case. It's just their initials and their birthdays. We also now know that Elizabeth had conjoined twins that passed away in November 2022.
Oh.
She has been pregnant now 15 times. Some of those were twins, but the reports that are coming out about this pregnancy are saying that it is a single child, not a set of twins. Now, I told you yesterday that Elizabeth's attorney filed for modification of her bond, seeking to have her $300,000 cash or surety bond changed over to a recognizance bond. So we'll see if this pregnancy sways the judge one way or another to let her out on personal recognizance so that she can get medical care not inside of a jail. This is shocking and so sad to me. While I do feel shock and sadness regarding this news of a 15th pregnancy, Elizabeth Siders is still a defendant in this case. And until we...
So guys, the more we find out about this, the more I can say she's not a victim. Maybe when she was 13 and they were okay with her being pregnant, and then 15 getting married, then I would say she's a victim. Her parents did her wrong. But after that, she's doing her children so wrong. I didn't even know about this. I did not know about that report. I had no idea in 2020 they were looking that closely at them. And I saw you guys talking about the paint chips. I was also looking it up. Beth, thank you. You guys welcome Beth here. Beth, don't forget to hit that like button and make sure you get all notifications, all right? I'll pray she stays in jail. Better for the baby in jail. Nope, not a victim. Hey, Net. All right, so let me look real quick about the paint. It says that kids usually would have high levels of of lead in their environment if, listen, old paint, like you guys said, or contaminated dusty soil or water from the lead pipe. So lead can come from the environment, and particularly lead-based paint was used in houses before 1978. So if the paint chips are coming off and they're scratching the walls and they're eating it and putting hands and toys in their mouth, also the dust. Older homes will release a microscopic lead dust. That dust settles on the floor and the toys and the furniture. Also, soils around older homes and roadways or industrial sites often contain lead. Now, kids get exposed by playing outside and tracking soils indoor. But we know their whole house was a soil, all right? Lead could be from old plumbing. It could be from toys. It could be from a lot of things. All right, let's continue. They probably were. Hey, Sabrina, welcome in. Good to see you. Alex, cooking with Mr. Good Looking. Welcome, buddy. Did you find your wifey yet? All right, so she is pregnant, they're saying.
We have all of the details that lay out what part she played in this, what her life was like in that house. We cannot say for certain that she was another victim in this case, but we can now say that she is pregnant for a 15th time at 33 years old. The most important people in this case are still those 16 children that were recovered from that home, and now this 17th child that she is pregnant with. Let me know your thoughts. We'll see if there's a decision made on that request for bond modification that was put.
No bond, nothing. They denied it, and now we know why. All right, guys, we're going to get into it. We haven't done this at all, and I've been waiting to do this, and then class will be dismissed. I really want to go over the House of Horrors Siders family in the body cam, his body cam footage. All right, Dr. G explains, and he's going to go over this and how they're acting, etc. I really been wanting to do this, so I appreciate you guys so much for being here, hanging out with me, and supporting the channel while I do so. All right? You're still trying to get a wife? Hey, Alex, cooking with Mr. Good Looking, he's trying to get a wife. Is that so hard? All right, you guys here for this? Are you guys good? Who's in? I hope the hospitals where she birthed the babies are forced to release records. Oh, they are. I think a lot of people are getting on the same page, and this goes across state lines. So I wonder if they're going to go federal with this at all. Hey, Newfie girl. Yeah, they acted like they were slow on purpose. They probably told them don't answer any questions. I'm sure they knew. The kids knew what to do. All right, let's get into it.
Hey, Dr. G here. I'm a clinical and forensic psychologist as well as a body language expert. And today we're going to be analyzing the behavior and body language of the Siders family. Before we get started with this, a couple of quick things. One, I wanted to make sure you know this is not a psychological evaluation of any kind. These are just my opinions. In addition to that, I do want to remind you to like and subscribe if you want to see more content. Just like this. All right, let's go. What we're going to be analyzing today is recently released jail footage of the Siders family. If you are not familiar with this case, I'm going to give you a very brief background, and then we're going to jump right in. The police went to the Siders house for Gary Siders Jr. due to public indecency. But what they found was a 12-foot by 12-foot room with 16 children aged 18 months.
Yes. Yes, Cosmic Shield Maiden, hello to you. Don't forget to get the notifications. And Jet Set, you're 110% correct. We demand justice. That's the only way this is getting done. Thank you guys for being here and supporting the channel with me. I couldn't do this without you guys, so thank you. All right, I'm not sure you're good enough for any of the guilty of crime ladies' daughters. You got a letter of rec. A letter of rec. Yeah, you got it. And it can't be from your mom. Just playing. Your mom probably knows you best.
To 18 years. Gary Siders Jr., along with his father, Gary Siders, and his mother, Christina Siders, and his wife, Elizabeth Siders, were all arrested due to child endangerment. What we're going to be looking at is their behavior and their body language in a variety of contexts in the jail. All right, let's just jump right in.
Yes.
Now, this is Gary Siders Sr. We're seeing him taking out of the sheriff's van right here. Clearly, he has some physical challenges. If you look right here, you can see he is interacting with police. You're going to see he is talking to people, which is significant. That does help us understand that he is capable of doing that. He does seem to be having back and forth interactions with that officer right there, if you watch this right here. And the reason I point this out, even though that's something very basic, is to show that he is capable of interacting with people. He is capable of reciprocal interaction. It does seem that he can communicate. That's a very important part of how they are going to ultimately bring charges in a case like this. How capable is everybody involved in understanding the charges? How much did they understand what they were doing, so on and so forth? At this point, the fact that he's able to converse and to have what looks like to be fairly regular interaction.
Now, mind you guys, he's not going to more than likely stand any kind of trial, right? Grandpa is in a facility getting his health taken care of. Now, you know, I don't always talk about this because, well, I wasn't even thinking about it until Grayson, right? What is his name? Sean Grayson, the Sonia Massey case. He had cancer before he did the shooting with Sonia Massey, the case where she says, "I rebuke you in the name of Jesus," and she gets her pot and he shoots her. Well, he died behind bars. He had cancer all the while before this even happened to Sonia Massey, and he just died of rectal cancer. All right. Well, I don't know what they officially said, but he had rectal cancer. All right. So it makes me wonder, is Grandpa gonna pass away before they get through all of this? Probably.
Interactions with people is worth noting. Now, you'll notice he does have restraints on. He does have handcuffs on. That's significant because there are a couple of family members who do not. But I wanted to point that out because that means that they still think that he is potentially a risk. That's why people put on handcuffs, is to minimize risk. It's not a matter of punishment. They're not punishing somebody by putting handcuffs on. Maybe embarrassing, but the goal of handcuffs is to prevent police from getting injured. So they must see him as some degree of a threat. So they do have him in handcuffs right now. As you can see, this is Gary Siders Jr. coming out. He has ankle cuffs as well as wrist handcuffs. Now you can see he's looking down. When it comes to body language, typically we associate that with shame. This is not somebody who's puffing up his chest and, you know,
And mind you, he's not lacking any nutrition, so to speak, right? The kids, they were pretty emaciated. They didn't have the nutrition, the food. This guy is just a big chubster knocking up Elizabeth and who knows who else. But damn, he sure didn't look like he was starving now, does he?
Putting his neck out. People do that when they're feeling real.
I hope he loses a bunch of weight in there. He's a pig. He's an evil, nasty pig. And I shouldn't even describe him as a pig because pigs are cute. This guy's a monster. How about that? An evil monster.
Pridefully, I want to show everybody how tough they are. This looks like someone who feels defeated right now. Again, he's probably also trying not to trip, but I don't think that is exclusively why he's looking down, because we see a lot of people in situations like this and they don't always have that way, that type of gait, that type of posture. Yeah. Now you're seeing Christina Siders come out. And just to be clear, if it's not obvious, Gary Siders and Christina Siders are the parents of Gary Siders Jr. Elizabeth Siders was married into the family. These are not her biological parents. They are his biological parents.
Oh,
now, in terms of the body language, what we're seeing. Now, if you look at Christina Siders, she seems pretty casual right now. As you can see,
all right, I'm interested in all of it. I'm here under your scars. Got to run. Choo choo. Thank you, my friend. Have a good night. I will see you tomorrow. Same time, same place.
He's holding papers. She looks fairly relaxed. She's paying attention to make sure she didn't trip over that step right there. So her body language right now, she seems very casual. She doesn't seem very anxious right now, because we can really see it in body language. When someone's feeling really anxious, and you're going to see that in a second, it becomes very apparent. Doesn't mean she's not worried, but we're not seeing a lot of that tension and anxiety. Now, one thing that's interesting about Elizabeth Siders is we're not seeing any ankle braces. We're not seeing any handcuffs, which could speak to the facts of the case. For some reason, they don't find her to be a danger because, as I said before, police put people in handcuffs. I mean, part of it's procedure, but it's really to prevent danger. It's not a matter of punishment. So whether or not she's guilty of anything, we're going to find out. But at this point, the fact that they chose not to put her in handcuffs speaks to the fact that they must see her.
They're like zombies, so to speak. All right, now listen, there's some DoorDash driver information, but it wasn't long. All right, DoorDash driver is Gary Siders Jr. And 2 independent sources did talk about Gary Jr. working for DoorDash. All right, a DoorDash driver with the phone, a car, and regular trips to Dollar General. But I don't think he worked there that long. All right, it was just like he did it for a little bit, but either way, that's actually disgusting. I don't know who would want their food delivered from. You got to admit, these people have to smell terrible, right? They have to be like just awfully, disgustingly, ugh. They have to stink. All right.
As no danger to anybody at this point. But in terms of her body language, look at how high up her shoulders are. This is somebody who immediately when you see them, she just looks like she is a ball of tension. You can see just how bunched up her shoulders are. We're going to talk a lot more about what that means as we keep going. But it's pretty evident right now that she is very defensive in her body language.
Good question.
And it's not some sort of reaction to somebody. It's not like you're seeing her bunch up all of a sudden. She's staying in that posture.
And just
you can see her fists are balled up.
Try to follow the belly. Now, only thing I could think of is she told officers, hey, guys, I'm pregnant again. If you put me in handcuffs, it's going to compromise whatever, right? She's given birth and been pregnant 17 times now, right? It was 16 and now she's currently pregnant.
Her shoulders are up. This is someone who appears so tense. And I don't mean that in this context. This looks like this is her normal posture. I would guess that this is the way she looks all the time. One thing that really strikes me about their body language is how casual most of them seem. If you look at Gary Siders Jr., for example, he seems pretty calm through all of this. But when you live in a situation like they were living in, something like this may not seem like such a big deal. Yes, obviously there are serious legal consequences of all this, but they are remarkably casual throughout this. And you see him wincing a little bit right here. There seemed to be something that was genuinely uncomfortable when the officer did that. That doesn't seem to be an overreaction. It does look like something about maybe he has an injury on his leg. I don't know what it is, but that looked like pain.
Look at his belly, man. That guy was eating, but he wasn't feeding the kids. Everyone else looks
now
all
you'll notice
haggard.
right here, Gary Siders Sr., you're going to see him put his face in his hands. Now, typically we do that when we're feeling really defeated or ashamed. One of the things that's challenging is just because of his own medical situation, it could just be that he's tired. So I don't want to overanalyze why he's doing that. So it could be that he's feeling all that pressure and all that shame, but it's also very possible that he's just exhausted from going through this.
Because he's a big, fat, nasty monster and he's not used to working. That's
Before we
why.
keep going with the analysis, I want to show you something that genuinely bothers me greatly. This is a redacted broker report, and just look at the level of detail here. We're not talking about basic public information here. We're talking about names, addresses,
Yeah, we like been verified.
Dark
We love this.
about all of this. Now, Elizabeth,
Real quick before we continue, because I know a lot of you guys asked the question: does Gary Siders Sr. have dementia? And multiple current news sources confirm that Gary Siders Sr. is experiencing significant cognitive decline, confusion, and possible dementia. All right. They are saying he seems a bit confused. He's unaware of the totality of what's going on. So the judge said, hey, this guy doesn't have any idea what's going on. He's not communicating properly. We need to X, Y, and Z. That's why he's in a hospital. That and Vinton County, Ohio, they simply cannot pay for those medical bills inside the jail. So they had to, a judge ordered a competency evaluation for the entire family. And for grandpa, he's inside of a hospital so that he can get the treatment he needs. I don't know how long he's going to last. Now, they don't use the word dementia, but they do explain his symptoms as dementia. And they don't know it, it hasn't been diagnosed.
the Siders is bunched up. You can just see her shoulders are up to her ears. And when you see someone like this, my first thought is that this is what victims typically look like. Now, I want to make a very clear distinction. Someone can be both a victim and a perpetrator. You can certainly be both, but that doesn't change the fact that when you see her, this is someone who looks like they have a tremendous amount of trauma and victimization in their past. That's what the body language says. I don't know her history, but when I see somebody like that, that's my first reaction. So when you think about why the body's that defensive, it's constantly preparing and trying to shield itself from the outside world. It's someone who just doesn't have any concept of how to let go of that stress. And it can look very different when someone is stressed because of a situation. You're going to see more fidgeting. I see her touching her fingers, but you're going to see more touching of the face, more touching of the cheeks, that kind of thing, things to soothe oneself. She's not doing anything to soothe herself. She's just a bundle of nerves. She's just very tightly wound right here.
Maybe you should have helped your grandkids, lady.
And like I said, with the grandmother, very similar to the son, pretty casual about all of this. And relative to the way they were living, this probably just doesn't feel like that big of a deal. See, look at her posture. It's hard not to see somebody like that and immediately think, what has this person been through? As I said, that does not in any way, shape, or form suggest that she is not guilty of what she's being charged of. It doesn't mean that she hasn't done things herself. But it's hard not to look at somebody with that kind of posture, with that kind of tension and go, what is this person's history? What have they been through that this is their default body position? But you look at the way that she's stroking her hair, the way that she's positioning her and holding her hands. There's so much discomfort emanating from her. Like I said, it's not
because she's not used to being in a clean environment. That's why they're all looking at her like she's a freaking animal in a zoo. Do you see how they're looking at her? And rightfully so. All right. When they forgot which sister they married, scared she got caught. Right. Cheeky's like, chat. Get the banjo out. Dueling banjo.
The kind of anxiety because she's in the situation, I don't think. I just think that this is how she is. This seems to be the default, I'm guessing, for Elizabeth Siders.
They're all looking at her seriously like a zoo animal.
And this right here is sort of a classically uncomfortable pose. One arm hanging down, the other arm stroking that arm. That's something that we see people do often when they are feeling uncomfortable. You look at somebody at a party, for example, and they're standing off to the side. This is a pretty stereotypical way for them to stand. You can see right there the way she's holding her left arm with her right hand. This is someone who just is emanating discomfort.
Yes,
and if we're to pay attention to the officer's body language, none of them are standing in ways that would come across as extremely intimidating. They're not crossing their arms or getting close to her. They're all keeping their distance. The male officer right there, the way he's standing with his legs apart, that's pretty standard for officers. That's not surprising that he's standing that way, but it's not that he's standing in a way that's intimidating or intending to be intimidating. So her reaction is not because the authority figures around her are trying to make her feel a certain way, I don't think. Now we're going to look at a bit of the booking videos. As you can see right here, we're back to Elizabeth Siders.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do. Louis says this channel is fire. Great reporting. I'm definitely appreciating your work. Well, thank you. I hope all of you appreciate my work. That way, when people try to rip me, you could say, no, she does great reporting. All right. Sabrina says not to sound messed up, but I don't think I don't either. And I'm being honest with you. I wasn't saying it to be anything other than I don't think he's going to make it through that. She's in a human zoo now. Yep. Agree. All right, guys. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and hit all notifications. You can see my schedule below Monday through Friday. If you're in Cali, it's at 4 p.m. If you're in Central, U.S. Central time, you're 6 p.m. and Eastern is 7 p.m. All right, guys, keep coming.
Again, that discomfort is just emanating from her. She seems so uncomfortable. You see her bunching her hands together, wringing her hands. Her feet are going underneath her chair. All of this suggests someone who is deeply uncomfortable right now. Now, this could be more so than the others. This could certainly be a reaction to the situation to an extent.
Now, mind you, she's over here just wiping her nose, probably going to wipe it on her hair and her pants after. She doesn't know what it's like to be uncomfortable and be like a zoo animal. Well, maybe she should have thought that about that when her kids were uncomfortable. She's uncomfortable for a few hours, but her kids were in a 12 by 12 room with feces and bugs scratching, and 2 of them were 24 hours away from death, guys. Yes, Eastern. 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Look at her. Let's see what she does with that hand.
But I don't think that's all of it. But you look, even the way she has her legs together, her hands together, she is just completely closed off. And when somebody's being defensive because they're answering questions or they're uncomfortable because of law enforcement, we see something different. We see them close up when they're asked certain questions, or we see them completely avoiding them or being hostile in a sense, being arrogant. We're not seeing that, which is why I continue to say that this doesn't seem to be specific to this booking video. I'm going to guess that this is how she's going to come across anytime we see her.
And thanks for coming in, Richard. Hey, Richard. Again, I bet they take a new baby away as well. I think she is pregnant only because I've seen probably 10 different sources saying she is, and then one saying, well, we don't know for sure because the documentation, she's checked yes that she was pregnant in the documentation, but we don't know if there was a test or what. But yes, they're going to take the baby away, I would hope. They're not trying to let her out, and they know that the charges are more extensive than the child endangerment. She was doing sick things with children under 10 years old. So what was she letting others, or what was she doing to her 16 children that were in the house?
Only 33 years old and has 16 children. That in of itself is enough to traumatize somebody, particularly given that situation. But I'm guessing there is a lot more to it than just that. Now, this is Gary Siders Jr. The body language we're seeing here is like night and day compared to Elizabeth Siders. You see the way he's got his hands clasped in front. This suggests two things. One, it suggests a good amount of tension right now because of the situation. This looks more like situational tension. And two, he's trying to show them that he's going to be compliant. Because keeping your hands in front of yourself like that is a way to say, I'm going to do what you're telling me to do. So that is an attempt to appear compliant. Now, his body language may change, but at least the way that this booking is starting out, that's what we're seeing. So as you can see him speaking to the police officer, he is keeping his head low. Now, I talked about how that can mean shame, and sometimes it does, but it can also mean that he is trying to show that he is not going to fight them, that he's basically going to be compliant. When you put your head down like that, it's doing the opposite of putting your nose up in the air. When you do that, your neck's very vulnerable. You want to show off, I'm not afraid of you. That's exactly what you do. He's tucking his chin in. It's a very defensive position. It's almost the opposite, actually. Now, it seems to be that he sees somebody he knows over there. Obviously, he's waving. You can see him smiling a little bit. And what this says, as I pointed out before, is that he's feeling very casual. This situation just is maybe somewhat stressful to him. Maybe he wants to show people he's going to be compliant, but not that stressful. He seems to be pretty casual right here, as do other members of his family. And as you can see, he's saying that he loves them. He pointed I heart you and then smiled at them. He seems to be pretty comfortable right now. I don't know which family member.
Okay, so you're right on that. And I confused myself a little bit, but I'll fact check. Actually, you're right. She checked no, and that's what we looked at last. Yeah, he's absolutely, I was going to say, he's got his legs spread wide open and his hands covering those. I wouldn't call him Jules if I were you, though, Indy. I'd call him something different, but lucky. Elizabeth Siders did check no on the jail intake form about being pregnant. So the public has been addressing this, and I'm going to tell you right now. So AOL alleged that jail intake paperwork on June 30th, that she checked no when asked if she had any medical risks or currently pregnant. This is only documented source and publicly reported pregnancy status that we have. No outlet has produced any record saying, yes, she's pregnant. So that's why we keep going back and forth with news sources because of that. All right. So she did check no. And I showed that to you on the last episode. And then it says Ohio mom of 16 pregnancy loop denied as arrest paperwork comes to light. So she was trying to use that to get out, but we definitely have conflicting stories. It does say she's expecting another child, but she checked no. So I don't know, guys. I don't know. We're going to have to flip-flop on that one. If y'all can find it saying that, y'all can find a thing that says she's pregnant, let me know. An evil pig.
It is that he's looking at. It does seem to be that he wants to interact with people. He's smiling. Seems pretty calm for the most part. Now, here we have Gary Siders Sr. Now, his body language is quite different from his son's. He sits up a lot straighter. He puts his hands on his knees. And you can see right there, he actually, I think, is hard of hearing. It looked like he was having a hard time hearing what was said. He's turning his ear towards him. So that body language, I think, is related to that. But as far as his posture, the way he puts his hands on his knees, the way his elbows are out, he's trying to take up room. That is a dominant position, quite different than his son's position. His son was basically saying, hey, I'm going to get along here. Go ahead and do whatever you have to do. I will participate. I will do what you ask me to do. He's taking a much more dominant stance. Doesn't mean he's going to fight them, or doesn't mean that he's not going to be willing to do what they tell him to do, but his body language is not expressing, I'm going to do whatever it is you tell me. I'm going to go along with all of this. It basically says to some extent, hey, I have power here. I'm in a bit of control here. And what that does is that tells us a bit about the personalities and the dynamics of the people in the house. It may be that in their home, he was the one that felt like he was in charge. Because when you watch him right here, he certainly seems a lot more capable and a lot more with it than he did when we watched the previous clips of him. In those clips, you wouldn't have even known that he was going to have conversations this fluid, but it seems like he may be a bit of a talker. And this type of leaning in, I don't think this.
Now, mind you guys, this guy was, when they acquired that house, him and grandma Christina and Gary looked perfectly okay. The decline has been over the last, like, say 3-4 years, but I absolutely think that he is the head of all this, right? He's the one that took Gary and Elizabeth. They took them over the state lines to get married. They were there the whole time. It's not like Gary Sr. and Christina said, "What are you guys doing here? What? We don't live like this." No, they contributed to it. Given her history of being pregnant, she probably is. Yeah. And when you look at her belly in this picture, I think she is too. I think the staff filled out the forms. They had Gary Jr. marked as pregnant and her not. Well, he looks pregnant. Thank you.
Part right here is because he's hard of hearing. I think this is how he probably connects with people. See the way he's leaning in? We do this when we want to connect. So he probably thinks that his personality will be persuasive, that in some sense he can charm the police officer to a degree. Now look at this position right here. He's got his legs wide open. It's another one that is a power play. It's taking up as much room as possible. It's keeping his legs as wide as possible, keeping his arms open.
Ugh,
so at
gross.
this point, once again, I'm the biggest guy in the room.
Yeah.
This is no big deal. People are probably just overreacting. That's what comes across from that kind of body language. See that right there, the way he's touching the side of his face, he's kind of resting his head on his hand. He may legitimately be tired, but it also says this is boring, uninteresting. Nothing about this is that important. So now we're back to Christina Siders. Her hands are crossed.
That's why I'm laughing, because they marked Gary Siders Jr. as pregnant and Elizabeth as not. So that may be where the confusion's coming in. I mean, we see her belly. We looked at it. We see the reports, and 9 out of 10 say she's pregnant. So, we'll confirm it when I get something to confirm it. But yeah, stinky. They all just stink. And I feel so terrible for those kids, guys. Yeah, Lil Red, you're in here talking about oil and what? Wait, what? What do you do? What? How? Oil and sugar? People like buy oil and put sugar in it and do that to give the kids high calories? I've never heard of that, but I know that the dollar store, they were buying a bunch of the oil. All right. That's what the dollar store lady said that ultimately made the call to get the arrest. Imagine the level of funk on these people. No, you're going to make me gag. He doesn't know even where he is. I can't hear. Well, this lady, man, she looks like the Walking Dead too.
Between her legs, very similar to her son's. This is saying, I'm going to be compliant. I'm going to be.
I bet you if we look close, Grandma's got a goatee over here. She's probably got a mustache and a goatee coming. Make way, Gary.
Easy to get along with. She's not trying to scoot close. As I said, there was a part of that with Gary Siders Sr. that may have been that he was a little bit hard of hearing, but I do think it was also a way to persuade and connect with the police. Now, her body language doesn't change much throughout this. A lot of what we see from her is that she continues to have compliant body language, but not anxious body language. We're not seeing her wring her hands or touch her face or stroke her hair. We're not seeing a lot of things that mean that she's super anxious right here. But what we're seeing is body language that says, I will do what you're saying. I will go along with what you're telling me right now. So we're not seeing somebody who is going to be a big risk, a flight risk, or somebody who's going to fight. That doesn't mean that what she says will be true, but it does mean that she's at least trying to appear compliant right now. All right, let's go start to wrap things up. Hopefully this is helping you better understand some of the behavior and body language we observed today. Now, if we're to look at the body language of all 4 family members in these contexts, Elizabeth Siders appeared to be very fearful of the outside world. And not just of this situation. It did seem to be that there was a strong reaction to just existing in the world.
Now, guys, stay here because we're going to end this with the family tree that you guys are looking for. And then we've got the family tree, and then we got the CPS investigation twice. All right. So right after this, I'm going to give you that family tree. Also, y'all can go up to, you can go to Ghost, guiltyofcrime.org or guiltyofghost.org, guilty of crime, and it's all up there too. So if you want to steal it from me, like Lil Red, if you're covering it or anyone wants to steal it off of the Ghost, go for it. All right. 3 meals, 3 hots, and a cot. The family stump. Yes. Okay. The burnt family stump. That's next.
She appeared very uncomfortable and very tense. Gary Jr. and his mother both appeared fairly casual through all of this. Neither one of them seemed to be all that affected by this situation. Now, Gary Siders Sr. appeared a bit different. He seemed more dominant. He seemed like he wanted to interact with people more. He seemed like, I'm guessing, is that he sees himself as the head of that household. Now, this is my first video on this case, so if there are other elements of this case you want me to check out, please let me know in the comments below. Last thing before we get finished up is I do want to remind you to like and subscribe if you want to.
Like and subscribe for Dr. G. We're on it, buddy. We're on it. All right, let me put up the family tree real quick with the connections, and then I'll show you the CPS stuff. There are new items up on guiltyofcrime.com. I'll show that before I head off. If you can drop a link, there you go. Ghost, it's absolutely free. And you can go sign up on ghost.org right there, guiltycrime.ghost. It's a .org, and you can get whatever you need, mangled or mush, right? All right, let's take a look. Let me see if I can make it bigger and move this out of the way. Okay, so there's the family tree. It gives you guys a little bit better of an idea. And again, thank you, Tiff, for making this happen today. Ooh, I've never heard of I've never heard of people drinking oil and sugar. Like, that's just never been. I don't know, but Gary Jr. sister's kids. All right, let me read the family wreath. It goes in circles, right? When the DNA comes out, it's probably going to change. So here's the Siders family. Now we've got those 4, and we're going to add 2. Okay, so we got 6 people now in this crime. There's the parental. That's a grandparents. Gary Siders Jr. We just saw. He's in a hospital because he can't really stand trial or do anything. He's married to Christina Siders. Okay, that's the grandma and grandpa of, and the mom of Gary Siders Jr., mom and dad of Gary Siders Jr. They are the ones that allegedly took Gary Siders Jr. and Elizabeth Siders out of the state to get them married at the age of, she was 15, he was 18. And then if you look here, Gary Siders Jr.'s sister, there's a Virginia Siders / Saunders, which means that that's Josh Saunders' relative, son of Siders Saunders. So that is Gary Jr.'s sister's son. And then Gary Jr.'s sister's, what is that? Her partner? Is that her like boyfriend or something? So you can see the connections, guys, right? Gary was eating everything. So those 2 are connected on the Siders side, and Gary's connected to Gary's sister. All right, Brandon and Josh. And then we've got all their 16 children, right? So hopefully that helps a little. We got the paternal grandparents, their children, and then Elizabeth, her children, and the 2 guys that just got arrested and charged with the CSAM. All right. So there's that. Yeah, you definitely can. That, and let me pull this up real quick, and then we'll be dismissed. This one, thank you, Tiff. This one talks about the CPS investigation. Again, if you want to grab that, you can on Ghost. CPS investigated the family twice before the current charges. Vinton County, Ohio. Now we're talking about the parents, Gary Siders Jr. and Elizabeth Siders. Newly released Gallia County documents obtained by NBC4 show that CPS investigated the Siders family twice before the current charges in Vinton County. Records reportedly show concerns about possible neglect were brought to the attention of the court years ago, 6 years ago. What did authorities know? When did they know it? What actions were taken? And how did the family remain outside of the system? All right, it's an evolving case and based on court records and reporting from NBC. All right, and then this is how it unfolded. All right, Dollar Store General, concerns from the clerk, open investigation, DNA issued, children removed, child endangerments for everyone, and then we got the 2 CSAM indictments for the other 2, and that also includes Gary Siders Jr. and Elizabeth. All right, so I hope that you guys can get with that. I appreciate it. I appreciate the Virginia's daughter. Yes, Snippy. All right, they all look similar, rightfully so. But let me do this. So you guys say a prayer for the Siders children, that they get the help they need therapy wise, and they get rehomed with people that aren't going to abuse them, like the Turpin family. All right. Yes, go sign up for that. Let me show you something. Let's drop this down and I'll show you this before we head out. We've got all the new merch up, guys. All right. I should have not done this one. Hold on real quick. Let me remove this. Let me share my screen with you real quick. And then, yeah, we definitely want justice for the Sider family, the children. There's our new merch up, and here it is. All right. So you guys can get, I know a lot of people say, I want a girl version. I want the girl cut. I want a unisex, or I want a unisex size XXX or 4X. You guys can have that. Whatever is here on the site, if you see it, it's yours. You can check out, and then in the notes, you could say, I want this or I want that. All right. Or you can email me. But that's the new Stay Jaded, which I absolutely love. But more than anything, I love this. This is my favorite right here. This design. All right. J Addict. I've got the Ink Addict stuff all day long. All right. The new hats. And remind you that these are the actual prints on them. But you could change whatever you want. Now, I can't see this rainbow print. I don't know what happened there, Tiff, but I posted it up earlier. Hold on. Yeah, I can't see the whole thing, but I mean, this is beautiful too. I ordered a shirt like this with this, but look at that. All right. But you could get any logo you want on it. Tiff, you might want to oh no, it's there. Yeah, I can see it here. All right. That's my favorite right there. That one. So guys, go get yourself some merch. All right. Be part of the Guilty of Crime family. You know, we're going to be giving more things out as we continue. That's it. That's all. And as we go, we'll continue covering this case and many others. You're very welcome. Thank you, Tiff, for all the help. Sin, thank you for the updates. Yeah, Tiff does custom designs on anything you want. All right. Is Jay on Turtle Island? Yes, I'm on Turtle Island, and it usually comes on Mondays, but it's not going to be until tomorrow. Is that right? All right. Love the merch. Very cool. I do. I agree. All right. Good night. I will see you guys same time, same place tomorrow. And thank you guys for those that are part of the Crime Crew official. Thank you. Thank you for supporting the channel and anybody else that did. I appreciate you guys. And don't worry, we'll be giving out merch very soon. All right. Love you guys. And I'm off to go rap. Who called me a rapper? I don't know how to rap, but good night, guys. I'll come up. Yeah, we make coffee mugs. Listen, Lori, we've got everything. We've literally got a Bluetooth Guilty of Crime tumbler, which I love. You can play music on it and drink your drink while hanging out at the pool. That's just me. I hang out at the pool when it's hot. So you get whatever you want on Guilty of Crime. If you don't see something that you want, well, message us and we'll make it for you. All right. I know. I love it. I'm going to buy it all up. Thank you guys. Love you guys. Merch is high quality. No Temu shit. You got that right. All right. Peace out. Good night. If you're new, make sure you hit all notifications and I'll see you mañana or tomorrow. All right. Yes, dude, I'm telling you, Allie, it's genius. It is genius. My favorite thing to do is sit outside of a pool with something cold to drink. Not alcohol, but you know, when you're outside and it's hot, got the music, got this. It doesn't cost that much, but it works great. All right, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, was that you that said that I look like a rapper? Who said that? All right. Good night, guys. Much love to you. Appreciate you. I can't rap, but hey, I'll take that. Good night. There, Tiff could make it all. And whatever you want, she can make it. All right. So go sub up, check out our website, and we'll see you tomorrow. I wash it by hand. I'm still filming, Mom. I wash it by hand. So, all right, guys. Love you. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good night. Tiff rocks. Synth rocks. Foxy rocks. Happy birthday to Synth. All the mods. I didn't see Kel today, but shout out to Kel. Shout out to Holly. Shout out to all the mods. Love you and good night. See you guys tomorrow. I'm out.
Guilty of Crime.
I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content,
Please share this video, like, and subscribe. You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of crime.
Are you guilty of crime?